Naruto God Level Majin Buu, Chapter 381-400. 381 If you and I join forces, we will surely dominate the ninja world. After Uchiha Madara really saw Guo Chen's strength, his senses of Chen were completely different. The strength shown by Chen has reached a level that is enough to make Uchiha Madara agree, even beyond Uchiha Madara's imagination. Even though the current Chen has not yet started Rinnegan, his strength is roughly equivalent to Uchiha Madara before the Battle of the End Valley, and he is still inferior to Senju Hashirama. But the problem is, Chen's potential is really terrifying. You must know that Chen is only in his 20s now, and he has already opened the Eternal Mangekyo, and the Susanoo he has is different, and the potential quality is far beyond ordinary. What's more, Chen still has Yongdun. The deep and powerful Yongdun level makes Chen's body recover automatically even if he is seriously injured, reaching an extremely terrifying level. Yongdun in this state is almost as good as Senju Hashirama, who did not open Sage Art back then. This also means that Chen will open Rinnegan sooner or later. And Uchiha Madara estimates that the Rinnegan opened by Chen will be a little different. Chen saw Uchiha Madara's invitation. He couldn't help but smile and sat directly in front of Uchiha Madara. The two sat facing each other again, and it was as if nothing had happened in the battle between the two just now. Sitting in front of Uchiha Madara, a legendary figure, Chen did not show any timidity at all, instead he was very relaxed and took it lightly. Uchiha Madara's character is arrogant, self-confident, and gives people pressure all the time, but Chen is steady, leisurely, and indifferent. All the pressure brought by Uchiha Madara has become invisible, which makes Uchiha Madara even more eye-catching. Your talent is indeed the only one I have ever seen in my life. Uchiha Madara admitted. Oh, actually Senju Hashirama said the same thing. Chen smiled. Hashirama, you met Hashirama. Uchiha Madara's tone fluctuated, and now Uchiha Madara cares so much about Senju Hashirama and Tatsuya in front of her. Chen smiled. It was a ninjutsu called Impure World Reincarnation that summoned him. I once fought against him in the state of Impure World Reincarnation. Hashirama in Impure World Reincarnation looks like the one from Senju Tobarama. Ninjutsu. Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed, and she immediately knew the reason, and she didn't know what she was thinking about. Looks like I might meet Hashirama again in the future, because of this ninjutsu. While, Uchiha Madara whispered to herself. Hearing Uchiha Madara say this, Chen was shocked. Uchiha Madara is indeed worthy of being a hero, with an extraordinary mind and an extraordinary mind. He has already foreseen the future. The future moment, Uchiha Madara is indeed because of Impure World Reincarnation. I did not expect Uchiha Madara to meet Hashirama again. Just relying on a few words to speculate on this. Chen is also impressed by Uchiha Madara. I have to face Hashirama in the future, plus you are here, it's really not lonely. Today's ninja world has finally taken shape. Uchiha Madara laughed long and loud, her expression still indescribably proud, and her aura was exuding. Others, even if they can imitate his pride, have lost that freedom, and even if they have this freedom, they don't have such a state of mind. This is Uchiha Madara, who has been planning everything from the very beginning of Konoha's establishment. Uchiha Madara, one of the strongest in the original book. Chen now feels the same way and understands the power of Uchiha Madara. Speaking of which, you have made a lot of layouts over the years, right? The first is Nagato's body. Uchiha Madara's laughter gradually stopped, staring at Chen with burning eyes. Nagato is the most important piece of Uchiha Madara and the hope of Uchiha Madara's resurrection. Uchiha Madara's original purpose was to let Nagato use the technique of Rinne Tensai, Samsara of heavenly life, to resurrect him at the right time. And Chen took the opportunity to take Nagato as a disciple and teach Nagato ninjutsu, which is also one of the layouts. Well, Chen generously admitted. Uchiha Madara snorted softly. Originally there were black Zetsu and white Zetsu. Uchiha Madara was not at all worried that Nagato would be out of control, but now that Tatsuya is there, it is hard to say. But fortunately, Uchiha Madara has a backer, that is Obito. Everything has double insurance. Uchiha Madara is even more foresight. He already has a complete plan in his heart, and hopes to use Obito as another insurance to complete the plan instead of him. However, looking at Chen in front of him, Uchiha Madara's expression moved slightly, and when he had other thoughts, he only saw Uchiha Madara looking at Chen and said, "Uchiha Chen, have you ever thought about joining forces with me?" Forces. Chen's heart moved, and he looked at Uchiha Madara. I saw Uchiha Madara's eyes burning brightly, and also looked at him. You and I are the two strongest in the Uchiha family in history. If we all have Rinnegan, you and I will join forces and look at the ninja world. Who is the enemy? Uchiha Madara proudly said. You Uchiha Chen, I Uchiha Madara, if the two of us join forces, we will surely dominate the ninja world and make all people surrender. Uchiha Madara exuded a powerful chakra, not like dying of old age at all, but bursting with amazing energy. Have to admit that Uchiha Madara's words are also full of delusions. But what Uchiha Madara said is true. If he joins forces with Chen, looking at the entire ninja world, there is indeed no opponent. The only one who can threaten the two of them is Senju Hashirama, but Senju Hashirama is already dead, and it is almost impossible to summon him with impure world reincarnation. Uchiha Madara's words not only made Chen think about this possibility, but Black Zetsu and White Zetsu also pricked up their ears, watching Chen waiting for Chen's answer. Thank you for your support. Because of the recent physical discomfort, the update speed has slowed down a little, but 3 chapters a day are the most basic, everyone can rest assured. Thank you for your support. Thank you Watermelon. 382 There can only be one king. I refuse. Chen gave the answer simply and directly. Uchiha Madara narrowed her eyes, but she was not angry, not even surprised, she just asked indifferently, why? Chen shrugged. The reason is very simple, Uchiha Madara, I think there is something wrong with your infinite Tsukuyomi plan, and I don't agree. Chen is very clear that this so-called infinite Tsukuyomi plan is simply a pit, and in the end, it did not achieve the purpose of Uchiha Madara at all, but instead attracted Kagaya. Since the results are all failures, there is no good cooperation, let alone other reasons. Is there any other reason for not agreeing with my plan? Uchiha Madara looked at Chen, and it seemed that she really had the idea of letting Chen be with him. In Uchiha Madara's idea, if the two worked together, everything could be accomplished. There are other reasons, of course. Chen smiled. It's impossible to have two kings at the same time. You and I don't seem to be the type that will be dominated by others. If we cooperate, who will listen? Of course you listen to me. Uchiha Madara didn't hesitate. As expected, it was Uchiha Madara's answer. So it is impossible for us to cooperate. If you cooperate, you must follow my arrangement. Chen said lightly. Why Chen refused to work with Uchiha Madara. Chen and Uchiha Madara are by no means the type to be submissive, and it is because of this that Chen left Konoha. The fundamental reason why he left Konoha, because Konoha can no longer tolerate him, and he doesn't want to suffer that grievance. Wong, there can only be one. That's right, I agree with this answer. Uchiha Madara's rejection of Chen was not surprising, on the contrary, if Chen agreed so easily, Uchiha Madara felt strange. Uchiha Madara's tone was a little sighing. Unfortunately, you were born a little late. If you were born a few years earlier, with me in the Sengoku era, how happy it would be. The Uchiha family will definitely not be in such a situation. Chen's mouth smiled. Even Uchiha Madara has this feeling, it seems that I should really be honored. Uchiha Madara's vision is so high, but being able to say these words is enough to prove his approval of Chen. Uchiha-chan, I am also curious about your layout, what are your plans? Uchiha Madara asked directly. Chen and Uchiha Madara sat opposite. Uchiha Madara asked. Chen shook his head and whispered. Actually, my idea is very simple. first unify the ninja world, and then accompany my confidants Yuhi Yan. Other ninja world turmoil is none of my business. As long as it gets on my head, it will. I am too lazy to care. Uchiha Madara looked at Chen, and found that Chen Xuanbran had no signs of telling lies, so she couldn't help shaking her head and sighing. Uchiha Chen, I really don't know how to say hello, I totally look at this guy. In Uchiha Madara's view, Chen is not doing the right thing. Such talent and strength, but has no big ideals and ambitions at all, which makes Uchiha Madara feel indignant. Chen Uchiha Madara is, after all, a member of the Uchiha clan. Although the two are currently hostile, they actually already have a relationship that is both an enemy and a friend. Especially Uchiha Madara. For Uchiha Madara, the only friend in his life is Senju Hashirama, and there is no one else. And Uchiha Madara has lived in this world for so many years like an undead, and there was no one who could talk to him on an equal footing until Chen appeared. So the current relationship between Chen and Uchiha Madara is not just as simple as an opponent. Hey, everyone has their own ambitions, so why bother? Chen smiled and turned to look somewhere in the cave, where, only to see that Uchiha Obito had been connected by Black Zetsu and White Zetsu. Uchiha Obito's whole body was contacted, and Senju Hashirama's cells saved Obito's life. When Chen saw it in his eyes, he couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Uchiha Madara's eyesight is really indescribable. He can see Uchiha Obito's potential at a glance, which shows how powerful Uchiha Madara is. Why, you're also interested in this kid? Uchiha Madara noticed Chen's eyes and asked lightly. No, I'm just marveling at your eyes. I taught this kid for a while before. Chen responded. Uchiha Madara said, if you are fine this time, you might as well stay here. Oh, you're not afraid I know your plans. Chen came to be interested. Uchiha Madara actually didn't care about Uchiha Madara and snorted. There are risks in doing anything. If you are afraid of it, I am not Uchiha Madara. It is. Chen agrees. Uchiha Madara's mind and strength, looking at the ninja world, I am afraid that only Senju Hashirama can match. Therefore, these two talents stand at the highest heights of ninjas. I'm not afraid of my plan, you know, you can just watch it here. Uchiha Madara said lightly. Chen shrugged, then I'll be disrespectful. The feeling of being with Uchiha Madara is not bad. Chen is amazed by his ambitious appearance, and Chen also knows that after Obito wakes up, Uchiha Madara will not have much time. The layout of Uchiha Madara is almost finished, and then we will wait for Obito to finish. It's a pity that Akatsuki is now master in Chen's hands. Chen is also very curious what method Obito will take in the future to complete the mission given to him by Uchiha Madara. After the splicing of Obito's body, Chen and Uchiha Madara are waiting for Obito to wake up. After Black Zetsu spliced Obito's body, he was sent to the battlefield by Uchiha Madara to collect information, while White Zetsu separated a Uzumaki-shaped avatar, and the main body, guarding Obito on the side. Uchiha Madara, is that how you acted in the ninja world before? White Zetsu's avatars everywhere in the cave, and immediately understood. HMPH, of course. _____. 383 I am the undead of Uchiha. Uchiha Madara sent Black Zetsu out to find out information, while White Zetsu guarded Obito. Of ninjas outside is also undergoing amazing changes. The Battle of Kanabi Bridge is over. The collapse of the bridge caused the village of Iwagakure to lose an important supply line. After weighing the pros and cons, the village of Iwagakure finally retreated. Of course, there were deeper reasons for the retreat of Iwagakure. According to rumors, missing Nin, who betrayed Konoha, Uchiha, the legend of the stars of the Uchiha clan, once appeared on the battlefield. Although he did not directly attack Iwagakure, he cast a huge shadow on Iwagakure, forcing Iwagakure to retreat. This news, Chen couldn't help laughing and laughing. Unexpectedly, there were other factors in it, and Chen almost wanted to ask those guys in Iwagakure village to have a shadow in their hearts. This time on the mission of Kanabi Bridge, Konoha gave birth to 2 heroes with Sharingan. One is Uchiha Obito, who died in this war and became the victim of the Uchiha family, the hero of Konoha. One is Hatake Kakashi, the son of White Fang. The genius of Hatake Kakashi has been known in Konoha for a long time, and this time it is even more brilliant. Of course, the most dazzling hero in this mission belongs to Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato led the team to complete the task of cutting off the supply line perfectly, and under his leadership, he sniped countless Iwagakure, ranking first in Konoha, and his reputation climbed to a higher level, reaching the peak. Even the original Sannin cannot be compared with it. Namikaze Minato returned to Konoha village and was very well received. Even the 3 generations of Hokage came to greet him in person, and his prestige reached its peak. However, Namikaze Minato doesn't seem very happy. One is Obito's death, and the other is Tatsu's appearance on the battlefield, making Namikaze Minato full of other thoughts. But finally, because of this incident, Iwagakure village stopped the attack, and the Third Ninja War gradually came to an end. Chen and Uchiha Madara got all the information. Chen is not surprised by this. After this Kanabi Bridge battle, I am afraid that Namikaze Minato will not be long before becoming Hokage. Chen looked in the direction of Konoha and couldn't help but sigh. For Namikaze Minato to become Hokage, Chen did not have much joy in his heart, not because he was jealous of Minato, but Chen knew very well that the closer he was to Hokage, the closer Minato was to death. Minato is not Hokage yet. Once he becomes Hokage, it is really not far from death. Chen sighed. He has not many friends, but Minato is one. Although we can still see impure world reincarnation in the future, it is a sigh after all. Boy, are you looking at Konoha's side? Are you still saying, I miss Konoha? Uchiha Madara saw Chen's expression and snorted coldly. Missing Konoha. Chen's expression changed. He didn't have any feelings for Konoha now. If nothing else, Uchiha's death was a thorn in Chen's heart. There's nothing to love about places like Konoha. Chen said coldly. That's a good word to say. Just as Chen and Uchiha Madara were talking, White Zetsu suddenly said, Madara. My lord, this kid has a tendency to wake up. Obito is about to wake up. When Chen heard the words, he immediately disappeared. Here is. In the darkness, only a dazed voice was heard, and Obito opened his only eye. Pain came from the right side of the body, and he wanted to move, but Obito found that half of his body was stitched together by some strange thing. Just a slight movement, but the pain made him grin at Kiba. Obito opened his eyes forcefully and tried to sit up when he heard a sound. Da da da. An old man was leaning on a cane, with long gray hair and drooping old age, but his eyes were very sharp, revealing a fishy Yuhi Sharingan. This is the clan of Uchiha, the gap between the underworld and reality. Of course the old man was Uchiha Madara, he said lightly. You. The first thing Obito noticed was Uchiha Madara's Sharingan. Are you from Uchiha's tribe? Well, it's up to you what you think. Uchiha Madara has no intention of answering. Obito was surprised. Could it be that this old man saved me? It's impossible, in that case. Obito pondered in his mind in a mess. I saved you. Uchiha Madara saw through Obito's thoughts, and said lightly, your body was stitched together by me. It is a miracle that you survived. The rock seemed to penetrate through you. But even so, your right body was almost smashed. I used Hashirama's body cells to temporarily splicing your right body. Sure enough, Grandpa, did you save me? Obito was holding the right half of his body, and although there was a sharp pain, he still couldn't believe it. However, Obito is a polite child, and immediately said, thank you, Grandpa. A meaningful smile appeared on Uchiha Madara's face. It's too early to thank you. I'll let you repay this kindness, but not now. What the hell are you? Obito was a little suspicious at this time. He subconsciously realized that this old man is not simple. He has Sharingan, but he doesn't seem to be from Konoha. All the old people in Konoha know Obito, but this one is definitely not among them. I am Uchiha Madara, the undead of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Madara is not a character who hides his identity. Since he was asked his name, he said it directly. The name and title of Uchiha Madara, the undead of the Uchiha clan, made Obito startled, and then he subconsciously retorted, "Impossible. Impossible. Uchiha Madara is my ancestor. What era is that?" At this moment, Tatsu appeared wearing a mask. Tatsu put on the ready-made Yuhiyun Akatsuki costume with a black background, and wore a zero ring on his hand. He walked to Uchiha Madara's side and looked at Obito. "Who are you?" Obito looked at Chen, who suddenly appeared, and was equally surprised. 384 Fudge Uchiha Madara. Chen appeared in front of Obito without warning, wearing a mask and looking at Obito with a pair of eyes. Although Obito couldn't see Chen's face, he had a subconscious feeling. The person in front of him seemed to have a unique temperament, and even in the crowd, he stood out from the crowd, and it was immediately noticeable. Obito retreated subconsciously, in self-preservation. Chen saw Obito's actions. There was a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. "It seems that this little guy is very protective of us, Uchiha Madara." "Bullshit, who are you guys, pretending to be Uchiha Madara, what are your plans?" Obito barely calmed down and said loudly. "Pretend." Uchiha Madara smiled lightly. Humans really are such creatures. They are always imprisoned by their own cognition. They would rather believe their so-called cognition than the facts in front of them. Obito twitched the corners of his mouth. He suddenly realized that the old grandfather in front of him was extremely long-winded, and suddenly remembered something. His face changed. "No, I have to leave here quickly. I have to go back to Konoha. Now Kakashi and Rin need me." Obito struggled to get up, but the pain in his right side was excruciatingly painful. It made him pale and his face twitched slightly. "You." Chen looked at Obito's state, and said lightly, "With your current state, I'm afraid you won't be able to continue to be a ninja." Chen used chakra to change his voice. Even Obito couldn't hear it. "How can this work? I finally became friends with Kakashi and started Sharingan. Now, I will definitely be able to cooperate better with Kakashi," Obito said anxiously. Obito anxiously wanted to get out of here, but he couldn't move half of his body, and could only rely on his chin and left body to move, which caused his movements to be slow and burdened, and he was sweating very quickly. "In your current state, moving like this is simply courting death. I still need you to do a lot for me in the future," Uchiha Madara said lightly. Obito turned a deaf ear and continued to climb forward. Young people today are really stubborn. Seeing Obito's state, Chen shook his head. His body moved abruptly, and in an instant he walked in front of Obito, and said indifferently, "Now the gate in this cave is blocked by boulders. You can't get out, and more importantly, what's more, in your current state. Get out of the way. Get out of the way." Obito roared and yelled at Chen. "It's really unreasonable. Are the juniors of the Uchiha clan like this now?" Chen's eyes turned cold, and when he moved his wrist, he directly hit Obito's neck. Obito let out a miserable cry, and instantly fainted. "HMPH, you are really violent," Uchiha Madara said lightly. Chen shrugged, mentioned Obito who was knocked unconscious, and said, "I'm not violent, I'm saving him." Obito was knocked unconscious by Chen, but Chen was actually trying to protect Obito. Let Obito mess up like this and this guy will die sooner or later. Chen is also very measured, and did not hurt Obito. Obito was in syncope. Chen smiled slightly, pointed to Obito and said, "Uchiha Madara, what are you going to do with this guy?" Uchiha Madara smiled slightly, and even played a riddle. "Guess what I will do with him?" Chen also smiled. "This child obviously does not obey your discipline now, and wants to manipulate people. There are two emotions that are best used, one is love and the other is hate. I think you will probably choose the latter." There was a strangeness in Uchiha Madara's eyes. "Uchiha Chen, you really surprised me." Award. Uchiha Madara said, I'm afraid I'm going to borrow Kurigaku's hand. I'll leave this to Black Zetsu. What about the little girl next to Obito? Chen thought of Rin and shook his head slightly. Such a cute little girl, you can actually do it. Uchiha Madara was even more surprised, not expecting Chen to even guess this. Uchiha Madara looked at Shang Chen, and her tone became more and more strange. Uchiha Chen, you are really surprising. Didn't I tell you, my Sharingan is something special? Chen moved in his heart, suddenly thought of something, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Kushina, Makoto and other women who are familiar with Chen are here. I am afraid that I will immediately see that Chen is going to lie again. Oh, your Sharingan is special. Uchiha Madara was very interested and looked at Shang Chen. Chen's eyes flashed slightly, and he smiled secretly in his heart, but his face remained calm. Yes, my Mangekyo Sharingan, you can see part of the future trajectory. Through the trajectory of the future. Uchiha Madara was a little surprised. He had never heard of Mangekyo having this ability, but thinking about Chen's strange performance every time, it seems that only this can make sense. Otherwise, how can I explain it? The boy in front of him seems to be able to predict things like God every time, and even a little unpredictable. Chen's familiarity with the original book falls in Uchiha Madara's eyes, which makes Uchiha Madara even more suspicious, so Uchiha Madara can see the future trajectory in Chen's eyes. The statement is somewhat believable. If this is the case, then everything makes sense. Uchiha Madara looked at Chen and thought to herself. Chen saw Uchiha Madara's expression and knew that Uchiha Madara had gradually taken the bait, and smiled. My Mangekyo Sharingan also has a special ability, that is, predicting the future, and can see a segment of a certain time in the future. Uchiha Madara, do you want to know whether your infinite Tsukuyomi plan succeeded or failed in the future? Chen throws a bait and decisively fools Uchiha Madara. Hey, even if you are the strongest Uchiha Madara in the ninja world, at this time, I am afraid that you will be moved. Seeing the future, who would not want to make fun of Uchiha Madara at this moment? Thank you Phailu for reminding you. 385 The life and death of yin and yang are in my palm. Chen had the thoughts of fooling Uchiha Madara, looked at Uchiha Madara with a faint smile in his eyes. But who knew that Uchiha Madara's answer was unexpected? Uchiha Madara's eyes moved. Obviously he was a little moved at first, and he was also very tempting to see the future, but after thinking about it, he endured it and said, no need. Oh. Uchiha Madara's answer exceeded Chen's expectations, and Chen wondered, why? No one wants to know their future, but Uchiha Madara refused, which surprised Chen very much. Uchiha Madara snorted softly. Unknown affairs are worth pursuing. Boy, I have to admit that your proposal is very tempting, but for me, although I care about the outcome of this matter, I don't believe in your so-called future and destiny, and I will create and fight for it myself. As expected of Uchiha Madara. Chen was amazed. Such a Uchiha Madara, such a bearing, such a measure, it is no wonder that he can stand on the top of the ninja and overlook all living beings. Chen did not play Uchiha Madara successfully, but he knew more about Uchiha Madara's character. The more he knew about Uchiha Madara, the more powerful he could be found. Chen and Uchiha Madara sat opposite each other again, waiting for Obito to wake up again. Uchiha Madara coughed and closed his eyes slightly. He was receiving Geto Mazo's demonic statue of the outer path, channel chakra, but his body was gradually weakening. Uchiha Madara, after Obito accepts your mastery, you will face death. Chen rode. It's a natural, planned thing. Uchiha Madara said lightly, but his expression was not afraid at all, on the contrary, full of calmness. Chen shrugged. Looking at your expression, you seem to put life and death aside, aren't you afraid? Scared. Uchiha Madara gave a long laugh and shook his head. Of course I'm scared, but many are still excited. Uchiha Madara said with a smile, the power of heaven and earth is divided by yin and yang, and the power of man is divided by life and death. Death, and the yin and yang escape of the ninja world. Aren't the two forces mutually repelling each other with the same purpose and the same effect, and they can get Shinra Bansho all creation. If I had experienced this life and death, maybe I would have a deeper understanding of the yin and yang escape. When I come to this world in flesh and blood again, even you will not be my opponent in the future. Uchiha Madara Self-Channel. At that time, the life and death of yin and yang will be in my palm. Uchiha Madara filled with pride and said softly, but in her tone, Chen felt a sense of arrogance and detachment that swept the world. Only then did Chen understand why Uchiha Madara was so thoughtful and arranged everything in it. For other people, even if they have the strength of Madara, they may not be so free and easy, so they can see through the indifference of life and death. Chen also admired this, but also curled his lips. Uchiha Madara, when you wake up, maybe I have already become a Six Paths Immortal. This level of strong Chen also has confidence that they do not think that he will be worse than Uchiha Madara, and even he has more advantages now, and gradually master is taking the initiative. After all, Uchiha Madara is old, and even about to die, and is far less wealthy than Chen. In particular, Chen is more confident, surpassing Uchiha Madara during his absence. Do you want to break through the Six Paths Immortal level? Uchiha Madara sighed softly. It's not easy, but I'll wait and see. Don't be too surprised when you get there. Chen said lightly. HMPH, it's too early to talk big. A flash of reminiscence flashed on Uchiha Madara's face. If I leave this world, I'm afraid I'll see Hashirama, but I won't be lonely. Chenin smiled and said, looking at the look of expectation on your face, if you don't know, you'd think you're going to see your old lover. Chen's words made the surrounding air swept away and became very quiet. Taking advantage of this, I saw that Uchiha Madara's face was very exciting. It slowly turned black, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. He bit Kiba's teeth and said, Uchiha Chen. Come here, I promise not to kill you. Ha ha. Madara, you have such a gloomy expression all day long. No wonder you look so old. You should smile more, as the saying goes, smile, 10 years younger. Chen kept teasing Uchiha Madara, but also took the opportunity to stay away from Uchiha Madara, mocking him from a distance. Uchiha Madara showed indifference to Chen's ridicule, and hummed heavily, expressing disdain. Chen was familiar with Uchiha Madara's temper, and became more and more familiar with him. After half a day, Obito woke up, and at this time White Zetsu and his Uzumaki face avatar took care of Obito, finally letting Obito understand the current situation. Only then did Obito know what kind of place he was in right now, and he was actually saved by Uchiha Madara. Little devil, if you really want to enter the battlefield again, protect your Rin, and take good care of your body. Besides, otherwise, with your current situation, you can't do anything. Uchiha Madara said to Obito lightly. When he heard Rin, Obito's face turned Yuhi first, then he became surprisingly quiet, and then he no longer thought about escaping, but seriously stayed to adjust to his physical condition. Obito's body has just been transplanted with Senju Hashirama's cells, so Obito is completely unsuitable, and Uchiha Madara also specially reserved time for Obito to let him adapt to his own condition. Under such circumstances, Obito began to adapt to the physical situation. As Obito struggled to resume training, White Zetsu and Uzumaki also accompanied Obito, while Tatsu and Uchiha Madara kept watching. Obito's progress is very fast. Perhaps he has stimulated his potential after experiencing a life and death, which makes Chenyu a little admired. Uchiha Madara, your eyesight is very good. He does have a pair of strong eyes, it's a pity. Chen sighed softly. Unfortunately Obito only has one eye. 386 Conspiracy. The source of hatred. Sharingan can exert its strongest power only when it is left and right, complete. When Uchiha Madara heard Chen's words, he nodded slightly and said, that's right. But something will have more power than Sharingan. Oh. Chen looked at Uchiha Madara. That's hatred. Uchiha Madara answered lightly. This answer was expected long ago. Uchiha Madara manipulated Obito through Obito's hatred. Uchiha Madara understands people's hearts deeply, uses Obito's heart for Rin's love, uses Obito's heart's emotions, and implements the plan. Chen and Uchiha Madara stood side by side, witnessing the gradual growth of Obito. Because of the cells of Senju Hashirama, Obito brought a strong vitality, which made Obito's body gradually recover. Rao Shichen knew that Senju Hashirama was strong and felt amazing. At this time, Uchiha Madara looked at Chen and said in a low voice, "Boy, in fact, the power of yang in your body now makes your cells almost as good as Hashirama's. If I can get your cells, I can also cultivate white Zetsu." Chen Wenyan was stunned for a moment, and subconsciously kept a distance from Uchiha Madara. "Let's go, don't even think about it," Chen said angrily. Uchiha Madara just mentioned it casually, and turned his attention to the field again. Now Obito's body has basically recovered. As long as he doesn't use too much force, he can handle most situations. Uchiha Madara watched Obito's figure for a while, and said lightly, "It's almost time to start." Well, the time is indeed near. These days, the clones of Black Zetsu and White Zetsu have been sending information one after another, telling Uchiha Madara the current situation in the ninja world, especially the situation in the village of Kurigakure. In the current ninja world, the large-scale war has basically ended, and only some small frictions remain. The Third Ninja War, the victor still belongs to Konoha. However, Konoha also paid a heavy price. Under the leadership of Namikaze Minato, Konoha finally expelled Iwagakure, but faced the covetousness of Kurigakure village. The village of Kurigakure is weaker than Iwagakure, but more rambunctious. For now, the village of Kurigakure has begun to act, preparing to carry out a conspiracy. Chen is very clear that in this incident, there is the shadow of Uchiha Madara. After this incident, I'm afraid Minato should be the fourth Hokage. Chen sighed lightly. The former partner turned out to be the fourth Hokage, and Chen also sighed slightly. But before that, it seems that Yahiko's death is approaching. Nagato awakens Rinnegan and his personality changes drastically. Thinking of this, Chen subconsciously looked at Uchiha Madara beside him, knowing that all this was actually within Uchiha Madara's plan. However, due to the existence of Chen, things have gradually changed and are different. This day, Uchiha Madara from the White Zetsu clone to intelligence, Kurigakure village started the Three Tails Rebellion plan. The content of the plan is simple. The people of Kurigakure village have captured Konoha's ninja, Arin. A three-tailed chakra experiment was placed in Rin's body, ready to bring Rin to Konoha and use the three-tailed chakra to create chaos. Uchiha Madara's plan began to implement. This plan is the overall plan of Uchiha Madara, and Black Zetsu is responsible for implementation. Chen looked at everything in his eyes, and then looked at Obito, who was unaware, and knew that the storm was coming. Obito didn't know it, but he was in a very urgent mood. He knew it. Obito had been staying in this underground cave for half a year. His injury gradually improved, and hope rose more and more in his heart. In Obito's eyes, he was getting closer and closer to getting out of trouble. These days, White Zetsu and his Uzumaki face avatar have been chatting with Obito. Obito gradually became acquainted with them, and he would speak some words from time to time, but Obito is also smart, and he will talk about some information about Uchiha Madara and Chen. White Zetsu and Uzumaki won't reveal any important information, but only briefly talked about Infinite Tsukuyomi's plan. Uzumaki smiled and said, Madara intends to carry out a plan called Infinite Tsukuyomi, to release a big demonic illusion, and make everyone fall into a huge dream. Because it is a dream, anything can be achieved. Demonic illusion makes demonic illusion in everyone. Obito pouted, thinking that Uzumaki's face was completely joking. Stop talking, how is this possible? Madara has godlike powers, of course it's possible. Uzumaki snorted. Madara's strength is far beyond your imagination, but he's too old now to do anything. Obito pouted, still completely disbelieving in his heart. But after learning of Uchiha Madara's plan, Obito wants to leave. Obito was waiting for a good time, a time to get him out of trouble. However, unfortunately, this time has not yet come, but something happened that caught him off guard. The conspiracy planned by Uchiha Madara has finally arrived. This day, in the dark cave, Obito was lying on the couch board, trying to move the right half of his body and trying some exercises. At the same time, Obito was also thinking about how to get out of the cave. At this time, a white figure suddenly appeared on the wall. It was the figure of White Zetsu. White Zetsu looked a little anxious and said loudly, "Obito, it's not good. I just went out and learned a piece of information. Those idiots Kakashi and Rin you mentioned, they don't seem to be doing well." "That's the case." Obito's expression suddenly changed, and he immediately stared at White Zetsu and asked. Although Obito stayed in the cave for more than half a year, his heart was always on Konoha, Rin and Kakashi. They were single-handedly surrounded by ninjas from the village of Kurigakure. "The situation is critical," White Zetsu said. "What?" Obito was extremely anxious and acted immediately. The distance, both Uchiha Madara and Chen suddenly opened their eyes and watched all this. 387 Chen. Terumi Mei. As soon as Obito heard that Kakashi and Rin were facing a crisis, he shouted loudly and slammed his fist into the exit of the cave, on the stone wall in front, but the stone wall did not move at all. Instead, a strong anti-shock force made Obito use Senju Hashirama cells on his body. Complementary arm fracture. Damn! Obito roared unwillingly, but there was nothing he could do, and he looked anxious. "With your current body, it is impossible to escape from here. Why don't I help you?" Uzumaki's face appeared behind Obito and said with a smile. "What?" Obito was slightly surprised. However, he saw Uzumaki's face, White Zetsu, move violently, and his body spread out, like a plant opening its petals, attached to Obito's body. Immediately, the voice of Uzumaki's face came. "Put on my body, so you can move." "Yes, but you are not Madara's subordinates, so is there any problem in helping me like this?" Obito is still thinking of others at this time. "Aren't you going to save Rin and Kakashi? Stop talking so much." Thank you," Obito answered. Afterwards, Obito's body was completely covered by Uzumaki's face, and he stretched his right arm. Obito actually felt an overwhelming force from Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, which was connected to White Zetsu. The stone wall was smashed to pieces. "What? I'm great." Uzumaki faced White Zetsu blows triumphantly. White Zetsu said on the side, "Obito, the White Zetsu you are wearing is my avatar. We can communicate with our minds within a certain distance, and he will take you there." "Good." Obito nodded vigorously, clenching his fists. "Uzumaki face?" asked Obito. "Well, go all the way east, I will guide you." Uzumaki face White Zetsu rode. "Okay, let's go." Obito's figure flashed, and he left the cave quickly, without the slightest nostalgia. Obito left, but Chen and Uchiha Madara did not stop him. They were still in the cave. Immediately, Uchiha Madara stretched out his hand and waved lightly, and a virtual image composed of chakra appeared in front of Chen and Uchiha Madara. It was the image of Obito, White Zetsu and others. Through this image, Uchiha Madara could clearly see all Obito in action. Chen couldn't help sneering. "I didn't expect that dignified Uchiha Madara would actually do such a voyeuristic thing." Uchiha Madara snorted softly. "Those who achieve great things are not careful. In order to ensure the correctness and completeness of the plan, what is this?" The face of Uchiha Madara's theory, Chen is very impressed. Chen and Uchiha Madara cast their eyes on the image in the cave, and any movements of Obito can be clearly seen. At this time, Obito left with White Zetsu, jumped and shuttled between the trees, and advanced at a high speed. Obito asked, "What is the situation with Kakashi and Rin now?" Uzumaki Face said, "According to my companion's report, it seems to be very dangerous. They are surrounded by dozens of people in Kurigakure, all of them are some powerful Jonin and Anbu, and they also say, experimental body, or something, I am not very clear." Obito's face was even more anxious, and he suddenly seemed to remember something, and asked, "What is Minato-sensei doing now?" Who? Uzumaki's face was a little unclear. "I ask you, what is Konoha's Yellow Flash doing now?" As if performing other urgent tasks. Damn, it happens at such a time. Obito became more and more anxious, and only secretly said in his heart, "Kakashi, you must wait for me, I will come to Rin right away." "Don't worry, I'll help you in a while." White Zetsu said. "No, I will fight with Kakashi. Didn't Madara say that Sharingan can only exert the strongest power when they gather together? Together, Kakashi and I will be able to protect Rin." Obito Speedway. Chen and Uchiha Madara watched all this. Chen already knew the plot, so it was a bit boring to watch, and even a little bit dozed off. However, Obito soon entered the battlefield. Chen glanced at the battlefield and saw that there were many ninjas from Kurigakure village, but when he saw a figure, he couldn't help but be taken aback. How did she come? Among these many Kurigakure ninjas, Chen met a special person, Terumi Mei. In the original book, Terumi Mei did not appear here at all. Could it be because of Chen that brought the butterfly effect? The world has undergone a subtle transformation. Terumi Mei is actually following among these Kurigakure, which makes Chen look tense, and Obito goes berserk in a while, maybe it will hurt Terumi Mei. Thinking of this, Chen's expression changed slightly, and he acted quickly, saying, "Uchiha Madara, there is an acquaintance of mine on the battlefield, I must rush over." Oh. Uchiha Madara's expression moved slightly, but she saw that Tatsuya's figure had disappeared. Chen didn't want to see Terumi Mei damaged, so when he acted immediately, his figure flashed several times and disappeared in the cave. Chen shuttled between the trees, frowning tightly. Damn, this girl Terumi Mei is here. I have to pull Terumi Mei away from the danger first. As for the other Kurigakure, it's none of my business. Chen is still very concerned about Terumi Mei. This girl is very good to Chen, and there is even a marriage contract between the two. Chen also regards Terumi Mei as her own. Terumi Mei is in danger now, and Chen certainly can't just sit back and ignore it. Chen's speed is much faster than Obito's, and his telekinesis is also famous in the ninja world, and it's no worse than Minato's Hiraishin technique. In the teleportation, Chen is also close to the battlefield. Only to see a beautiful girl with brown hair on the battlefield is particularly attractive. It is Terumi Mei. Chen's figure flashed instantly, and he directly crossed 100 meters and arrived in front of Terumi Mei. For automatic, see the underlined version of the novel. 388 Obito the Runaway, Mangekyo Sharingan. Quote. Seeing that a little female leopard suddenly turned into a docile kitten, Chen was speechless by the strong contrast, and felt that this girl was really cute. "You are in danger, I will take you away first," Chen said lightly. Dangerous. Terumi Mei didn't know the current situation at all, let alone that Obito was about to break out. She heard Chen's voice and recognized Chen's identity, but now Chen was wearing a mask, so Terumi Mei didn't know the specific situation of Chen. Having said that, I thought that Chen was always by her side and took care of her. Thinking of this, Terumi Mei couldn't help biting her lip and snorted softly. Bad man, only now know that he came to me. Hearing Terumi Mei's resentful tone, and then seeing the girl's face with Yuhi, Chen sighed. Girl, I'm serious with you, you are in danger here. I know, but if you come, there will be no danger. Terumi Mei's eyes were full of admiration, and she said with a smile, not caring at all. With the strength of Chen, in the current ninja world, it is true that you should not be afraid of anyone. Chen didn't expect this girl to answer like this, and she was a little lost for a while, but when she saw Terumi Mei smiled again, took the initiative to hug Chen Dao, and murmured, "I am really happy that you took the initiative to come to me. You know, when I heard the news that you betrayed Konoha, I didn't know how worried I was, and even secretly sneaked into Konoha to find you, but you have already left." Terumi Mei spoke softly and sighed softly. Chen was stunned for a moment, not expecting this girl to have such a side in her heart. Facing the girl's thoughts, Chen also sighed lightly and said with a smile, "Didn't I come here?" Terumi Mei nodded heavily. "I am so happy to know you're still following me, really happy." Terumi Mei whispered. In the chaotic battlefield, an astonishing scene appeared. I saw that Rin and Kakashi were besieged by 30 or 40, named Kurigakure ninjas, and at this moment, lightning flashed out of Kakashi's hand. It was Chen who taught Kakashi's ninjutsu named Reikiri. This ninjutsu directly penetrated Rin's heart, and the thunder and lightning still sounded. The sound, Kakashi froze for a moment, his eyes widened suddenly. Rin, on the other hand, looked at Kakashi with a slight smile. The scene in front of him was too dramatic for Kakashi. Kakashi's eyes burned and he just felt a huge load and fell directly. At the same time, at the moment when Kakashi fell, Obito just came to Zan Obito to witness all this with his own eyes, with a look of despair in his eyes, and let out a painful cry. "Ah ah ah ah." Obito roared, and the tomo in his eyes turned frantically. A huge negative energy emerged from his body, and memories flashed through his mind constantly. In Obito's world, Rin is simply his spiritual support Jinchuriki column. But now, this Jinchuriki column has collapsed. The powerful negative energy stimulation generated makes Obito enter a state of rampage. Rin's memories flashed through his mind one by one. "Hello, is your name Obito? I'm Rin, nice to meet you." "Obito, you're late again." "Obito, you are injured, I will help you bandage." "Obito, you've improved again." After another, all entered his mind, making Obito almost collapse for a while. Obito let out a heart-wrenching roar, and his voice alarmed the forest. At the same time, Terumi Mei, who was in Chen's arms, also noticed the amazing changes in the field, and his expression changed slightly. Sharingan is the eye that portrays the soul. Obito screamed in despair at this time. The despair and negative emotions in his heart reached the peak, and in order to gain powerful power, he opened Mangekyo Sharingan. And because of seeing the moment when his best friend Kakashi killed his beloved goddess with Reikiri, Obito's heart was full of escape thoughts. At this moment, Obito wanted to escape from reality and tear everything apart, so he got the escapism, blur, and the two abilities of Kamui that tear everything apart. It's just that Kamui is in Kakashi's eyes, and Kakashi has fainted at this time. As for Obito, he instantly has the ability to blur. Obito is in a state of berserk, completely losing his sanity, and at the same time, with the help of the power of White Zetsu, he confronts the ninjas of Kurigakure village. This Sharingan is from the Uchiha family. The distance, Terumi Mei saw this scene and looked a little panicked. "Not good, my comrades." Terumi Mei subconsciously wanted to save his companions in Kurigakure village, but was stopped by Chen, who was silent for a while, stared at Obito, squinted and said, "Even seeing this scene with my own eyes is still shocking. I can't imagine that Obito actually because Rin directly turned on Mangekyo." Obito's eyes were originally only Tomo, but at this moment Mangekyo is opened. There is only one explanation. That is, the negative emotions in Obito's heart are too strong. Obito ran wild, and the Kurigakure ninja in the field quickly discovered this scene. Who is this person? Or reinforcements from Konoha? The ninjas of Kurigakure village felt a little weird instinctively. He is only one person. What about the reinforcements? Kill him. 389 here, it's hell. These Kurigakure think about it too, although the other party looks a little weird, but they are only one person. They have more than 30 Jonin and Anbu, no matter how strong the other party is. For a time, the Kurigakure ninjas all moved, and all of a sudden, kunai were thrown at Obito, but a surprising scene appeared. These kunai all passed through Obito, and no one knows how Obito escaped. These Kurigakure ninjas couldn't help but take a step back subconsciously, looking at Obito with some horror in their eyes, as this person a ghost. Said that, Obito acted frantically and killed on the field. Obito was in a rampant state, and the speed was unspeakably fast. He shot one after another. When other Kurigakure ninjas attacked, they directly penetrated Obito's body, and when it was Obito's turn to attack, they all worked. This monster seems to have the special ability to penetrate and we can't attack him at all. Penetrating, deceiving. The Kurigakure ninja's eyes widened in disbelief. If Obito really has the ability to penetrate, how can this fight? At least these Kurigakure ninjas don't know how to face the next battle. Obito was on a rampage, fighting completely by instinct, but he used the Mangekyo Sharingan that was just started extremely skillfully, and even Chen from a distance would admire it. Obito, this guy is really good at this. Terumi-Mei also saw all this. Terumi-Mei looked at Chen and whispered, he seems to have a similar Sharingan to you, Chen. Terumi-Mei looked into Tatsu's eyes, the only part where Tatsu could be seen through the mask. Chen smiled lightly, well, this kid is not simple. You worry about me because of him, but isn't he from your Uchiha clan? Terumi-Mei is a little weird. Chen sighed lightly, it's a bit complicated, you'll know it later. Oh. Terumi-Mei obeyed obediently, leaned in Chen's arms, and stopped talking. Terumi-Mei has already felt extraordinarily happy for Chen to be here, so why would she care about anything else? Chen hugged Terumi-Mei, smelled the faint fragrance of Terumi-Mei, but sighed in her heart. Obito, after all, went down this road. But the road was chosen by themselves, and Chen was unwilling to interfere. In the field, Obito had already killed several people in a row. A wooden thorn was thrown, piercing the body of a Kurigakure ninja, and then subconsciously hand seal, Mokuden wood style, the art of cutting. I saw that the thorns swelled violently, separated, and killed the enemy. Obito was able to use Mokuden wood style because Senju Hashirama's cells were transplanted to his right body, but it was used inadvertently, which surprised Uzumaki's face in white Zetsu. Even Mokuden wood style wonders why Madara chose you, Obito. Uzumaki's face secretly said. Sky. I don't know when it will start to rain. On the ground, blood flowed into rivers. Obito is like a Shira who has returned from hell, with only the numbness and killing instinct left. He is attacking in a frenzied battle, and the Kurigakure ninjas in the field fall down, blood flowing into rivers. Obito had gone into a frenzy and finally, after about half an hour, the fight was over. In the field, only Obito was left standing. Obito walked slowly to Rin's body, reaching out as if to touch Rin's face, only to find that his hands were covered in blood, lest they stain Rin's face. Obito withdrew his hand again. Just eyes, but unknowingly flowed out crystal tears, dripping on Rin's dead cheek. Rin. Obito crouched down to cry, like a helpless child. After crying for a while, Obito deeply forgot Rin's face and didn't bury Rin. He knew that Kakashi would deal with it when he woke up. More importantly, Obito has denied this in his heart. Regardless of whether it was Rin's death, Kakashi killed Rin, or some special reason, all were denied by Obito. For Obito, there is nothing left to miss here. Konoha, he doesn't want to go back, that place has already made him tired of the huge ninja world, and he seems to have nowhere to go. Obito is exhausted, step by step to the distance, and unconsciously, he is heading towards the cave where Madara is located. Go. Obito muttered something in his mouth, but the resentment in his heart seemed to be getting stronger and stronger, and he kept muttering something in his mouth. If you get close, you can hear him muttering, here and here is hell. In the dark rainy night, Obito muttered to himself alone. Obito left, but Terumi-Mei sighed softly, looking at the corpse of Kurigakure all over the floor, feeling overwhelmed for a while, and didn't know what to say. Chen. Terumi Mei looked at Chen, took the initiative to stretch out her little hand, and took off the mask on Chen's face. Chen also did not mean to refuse, and let Terumi Mei move. Terumi Mei saw Chen's face, and finally showed a slightly playful smile, touched Chen's face, and leaned tightly on Chen's shoulder. You seem to say something just now, admit that you are my husband. Coon out. Terumi Mei suddenly smiled playfully, as if remembering something happy, he laughed. Chen suddenly had a headache. This girl really said that women's hearts are needles, and this girl's heart is really like the weather in June. If it changes, it will change. Chen coughed and was not ready to answer, but Terumi Mei smiled lightly. I don't care, you admitted it just now, and you admitted it yourself. Hey, I'll wait for you to marry me in the future. Chen Man's head is full of black lines. Terumi Mei, is it interesting that you are a girl who talks about marriage all day long? Humph, I don't care. For automatic, see the underlined version of the novel. 390 HMPH, wait until I become a Mizukage. But fortunately, Terumi Mei should still be a Mizukage in the land of water. As long as these girls don't get together, it should be much better. Chen couldn't help but think about it for a while, and after a while, he couldn't help laughing. This is all a matter of the future. Terumi Mei said, Chen, I haven't heard from you all this time, where have you been? After Terumi Mei learned about Chen's rebellion, she has been silently collecting Chen's news, but it has never been fruitful, so Terumi Mei is very puzzled as to where Chen has gone. Chen smiled slightly, in the country of rain. The land of rain. Terumi Mei blinked her eyes, quite puzzled by this, not knowing what Chen was doing in the country of rain. Chen smiled and said, you will understand later. Oh. Terumi Mei pouted slightly, I see. You'd better go back to the land of water as soon as possible to avoid danger outside. Chen patted Terumi Mei on the shoulder and said. Terumi Mei hugged Chen, shook her head and said, I don't want it, I want to follow you. While speaking, Terumi Mei was still holding Chen tightly, like a small tail. Chen was quite speechless about this, but as if remembering something, his eyes moved slightly, he half-hugged Terumi Mei, and walked to Rin's side. She died so pitifully, and I don't know why the village did this. Terumi Mei sighed softly, complaining about the current Kurigakure in her words, and looking at the dead Rin with sympathy. Chen let go. Terumi Mei, who was holding her, leaned down to check Rin's condition, and suddenly, Chen's eyes lit up slightly. There is still help. Chen whispered. What? Terumi Mei's eyes widened. You mean this girl is still alive? Well, theoretically yes. But the only people in the ninja world who can save her are me and another person. Chen said indifferently, and immediately said to himself, the life has already been exhausted, so I will save her, corpse, for the time being, and then use Senju Hashirama's cells to maintain life, plus Geto Mazo demonic statue of the outer path's chakra, maybe this will be fine. The injured part of Rin is in the heart, the most important part of the human body. The heart is damaged, and even Senju Hashirama's cells cannot be completely cured, and Geto Mazo demonic statue of the outer path is needed. Chuck kept her alive. Chen waved his hand lightly, only to see that a chakra raised Rin all of a sudden. Rin's figure disappeared, obviously it had been hidden by Chen. Chen was also overjoyed. Rin was still saved, this was an unexpected gain. The most important person in Obito is Rin, the most important pawn of Uchiha Madara. With Rin in his hands, Obito may be able to defect at a critical moment, and then give Uchiha Madara an accident. Chen means another whole card. Of course, the premise is that Chen must save Rin. It's not easy to save Rin. Chen can only temporarily save Rin's body, temporarily maintain the vitality of Rin's body, and wait for the opportunity. Chen put away Rin's body, and turned his eyes to the field again, only to see movement on Kakashi's body. It seemed that Kakashi was about to wake up. Chen's eyes narrowed slightly, his figure flashed, and he finally left. Chen hugged Terumi Mei and left this jungle area. Terumi Mei hugged Chen tightly and whispered, "It's good, Chen, where are we going now?" "It's not where we're going now, but you're leaving." Chen looked at Terumi Mei lightly and said. Terumi Mei's eyes had a look of gloom, and he snorted softly, "I knew it would be like this. You hate me, don't you?" "Humph. Chen Dao, you go back to Kurigakure village obediently first. If you want to meet again in the future, it will be easy. I will find you." "Oh." This time Terumi Mei did not refute. "You have two kinds of Kekkei Genkei, and your future potential is also extraordinary. I don't want to see a silly girl who only wants to get married all day long. You have to work hard." Chen patted Terumi Mei's head and said, "I'm not stupid." Terumi Mei protested softly, then nodded firmly, "I will, but I'm going to be a Mizukage." Terumi Mei looked at Chen seriously and said, "When I become a Mizukage in the future, you will come to the land of water, even if Konoha doesn't want you, but when I become a Mizukage, the land of water is my final say. Then you will be able to land the water." Chen opened his mouth and wanted to refute, but a strange feeling surged in his heart. Terumi Mei, this girl actually wants to become a Mizukage for him. 391 Infinite Tsukuyomi and the Savior. Chen heard Terumi Mei's words. He couldn't help but feel a little funny, but Terumi Mei looked at Chen with a serious face, not joking. The eyes of Terumi Mei at this moment, Chen really saw the bearing of the future 5 generations of Mizukage, and Chen couldn't help but smile. "Well, I'll wait for this day, and if you need to contact me in the future, you can contact me directly." Chen told Terumi Mei a simple contact method. Terumi Mei nodded lightly, indicating that she knew and remembered it seriously. Chen knows that there will be many changes in the Kurigakure village in the future, and it will be called the Blood Mist. Terumi Mei will definitely encounter various problems in the future, and Chen will of course help Terumi Mei. After a few short incidents, Chen has completely regarded Terumi Mei as his own woman. After Terumi Mei memorized the contact information, she didn't delay, no longer showed her little daughter's obsession, and left quickly. Chen looked at the back of Terumi Mei leaving. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Yiren is gone, but Chen has other tasks. Chen also headed towards the cave where Uchiha Madara was. Obito was so hurt and numb because of Rin. Uchiha Madara was probably facing the time to die, and Chen will be the witness of all this in Uchiha Madara's final layout. Chen quickly returned to the cave. Chen didn't worry about himself at all. He was wearing a mask and Akatsuki's clothes, which Obito would never recognize. Just after returning to the cave, Chen saw Obito walking in front of Uchiha Madara like a walking corpse. Uchiha Madara looked at Obito. "You are back." "Here, it's hell." Obito was still lost in his eyes and muttered to himself. "Here, hell." In Obito's view, here is absolute hell. Rin's death, Kakashi and his promise, all came to nothing, causing Obito to lose all hope, lose all spiritual support. Jinchuriki column, and just mutter the words that this is hell. Obito's eyes were hollow, like a walking corpse. But Uchiha Madara looked at Obito and said lightly, "You only realize this now. This real world, originally hell, is full of scorched earth, hatred between people, full of battles between winners and losers. In the real world, there is no need to exist at all. That's why you have to prepare Infinite Tsukuyomi." Obito already knew about Infinite Tsukuyomi in general, and immediately asked. "Yes, in Infinite Tsukuyomi's demonic illusion, all of us can act according to our own ideas, because it is a dream, so everything will be mastered by us." The Tao of Uchiha. Obito's eyes lit up, as if the water man had grabbed a lifesaver. "So, Rin can also be resurrected in Infinite Tsukuyomi." "Of course. Not only, for example, you can rewrite your destiny as you want, aren't you quite Hokage? In the world of Infinite Tsukuyomi, anything is possible." Uchiha Madara has been flat, but it has a hint of bewitching. There is no doubt that Obito is completely heartbroken. Hearing Uchiha Madara's words, Obito Obito's breathing became heavy. Tell me, how can I infinite Tsukuyomi? Oh, are you interested? Uchiha Madara looked at Obito with a burning gaze. Obito doesn't speak, but his eyes already mean everything. Chen was watching all this, and Uchiha Madara didn't care about Chen's appearance at all. He just revealed his plan and everything, but concealed a small part of the key. The more Obito listened, the brighter his eyes became, as if he had finally found hope. This infinite Tsukuyomi plan, I want to participate. Obito finally stood firm. Uchiha Madara smiled, and everything was finally in order, among his masters. Yes, from today, I will teach you ninjutsu, you practice first. Your strength is still too weak. Uchiha Madara said lightly. I don't have much time, your opponent in the future will be very strong, you must have enough strength from the master. When Uchiha Madara said this, he meant something, and glanced at Chen's direction lightly. Good. Obito nodded in agreement. After Obito agreed, which meant that Uchiha Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi project finally had a candidate, Chen seemed to see a huge shadow covering the entire ninja world. Uchiha Madara looked at Obito and said indifferently, from today, you are the savior of the ninja world. The savior. Chen shook his head. It was really hard to say whether it was the savior or Shura. After that, Uchiha Madara began to teach Obito to practice ninjutsu, but he did not care about Chen's presence at all, and at the same time, Uchiha Madara did not tell Obito the identity of Chen. Uchiha Madara's power is not that small. He didn't care about Chen watching his plan at the side. Even Chen couldn't help but wonder, Uchiha Madara, you really are not afraid that I will start to get rid of Obito now? You can just. There is no chance of winning. If you wanted to do this, you would have done it already, didn't you? Uchiha Madara said lightly. Chen smiled. What Uchiha Madara said was the truth. Regardless of Obito or Uchiha Madara, Chendu doesn't care, because the one who will face Kagaya Haim in the future. Even Obito is afraid. How can Chen become a big power? Chen is not small. Uchiha Obito has never been the enemy in his eyes. Chen turned his eyes to Obito again, and during this time flew by. Soon, nearly half a year passed in a flash. In the past 6 months, Obito's strength has grown to a terrifying level. Perhaps as Uchiha Madara said, the hatred in Obito's heart is the best weapon to control Obito, and Obito also uses the power of hatred to stimulate his greatest potential and make rapid progress. All this, Chen sees it in his eyes. For automatic, see the underlined version of the novel. 392 Farewell, Uchiha Madara's death. The level of Obito's progress is appalling, of course, also because of Mangekyo Sharingan. Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan is a time-space ninjutsu, blurring. This ability is very practical, and with the help of Uchiha Madara, Obito has quickly mastered this ability completely. In addition, due to the transplantation of Senjuhashirama cells, Obito can use part of Mokudan, wood style, and the body also has a part of the power of masculinity. In such a state, I am afraid that ordinary cage-level powerhouses may not be Obito's opponents. Chen squinted his eyes and saw Obito's growth in his eyes. Although he was also very surprised, he was only amazed. Today's Chen has stood at almost the same height as Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. Chasing the top of the strongest ninja, his mentality has long been completely different. Although Obito's growth is terrifying, Chen is only looking at it with admiration. At the same time, Chen also knew something else. The faster Obito grows, the closer Uchiha Madara's death is. Chen looked at Uchiha Madara, who was getting older and older these days, and sighed slightly in his heart. Uchiha Madara was really about to die. The legend of the once ninja world is finally approaching his birthday. Uchiha Madara. Chen looked at Uchiha Madara's old and almost exhausted white hair, and asked lightly, I don't know what it's like to grow old. Uchiha Madara snorted softly. It's just human nature to live, get old, get sick and die. Boy, when I am resurrected again, I will come to this world again in flesh and blood, and then I will see how much your strength has grown. Chen smiled slightly. As you wish. I hope you won't be too surprised when the time comes. I hope you surprise me, otherwise life would be very boring. Uchiha Madara proudly said. The more challenging things are, the more enjoyable they are. Uchiha Madara is indeed Uchiha Madara. I really hope to fight with you in your strongest state. Last time, I took a big advantage. Chen shrugged. Uchiha Madara smiled lightly. I'll let you see, I hope you won't be too surprised then. Uchiha Madara's original words are returned. Chen Yi smiled and said, I also hope you surprise me. The two of them both said what the other said just now, and they were all indescribable and unrestrained, causing Black Zetsu, White Zetsu, and Obito, who could hear the conversation between the two beside them, to be slightly absent-minded. Obito shook his head and looked at Chen, guessing Chen's identity in his heart, who could be comparable to Uchiha Madara. Obito did not guess that this person was Chen, but he was not sure. Uchiha Madara and Chen looked at each other and smiled. Uchiha Madara said freely, It's a pity that I don't have sake here, otherwise I'll have to drink it. I have. Instead, Chen took out 2 jars of sake like a conjuration. This is the best sake I bought from the market. Chen is not confined around Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, like Uchiha, and can go anywhere. Buying 2 jars of wine is easy. Uchiha Madara's eyes moved, and he took it unceremoniously, and immediately started drinking, with great atmosphere. Even at the moment when Uchiha Madara is so old and dying, he is still bold and generous, and his power is indeed soaring into the sky, which no one can match. Uchiha Madara was drinking, and Chen also took it unceremoniously. Both of them drank heavily, as if they were drinking water instead of wine. Good wine, happy. It's a pity, if Hashirama was alive, it would be better. Uchiha Madara sighed in a low voice. A flash of reminiscence flashed in his eyes, and he actually thought of Senju Hashirama. Chen secretly sighed. Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara really deserve to be good friends. Even when Uchiha Madara was dying, she was thinking about Senju Hashirama, which was really not easy. However, this also made Chen understand Uchiha Madara's character even more. Uchiha Madara really values love and righteousness. Senju Hashirama is his only friend, and he has always remembered him until now. Uchiha Madara slowly closed his eyes, as if he was aftertastes the sweetness and freshness of the wine, and also seemed to be thinking about something. Chen did not speak at this time. Presumably Uchiha Madara had already made a decision. Boy, it's a good thing to be able to foresee you. Hashirama is dead. I'm afraid that when I resurrect, he will no longer be my opponent. Only you. I hope you won't let me down or let me enjoy the invincible loneliness. Uchiha Madara suddenly opened his eyes. His aura was still pressing, and he said lightly. Don't worry. Chen said lightly. That's fine. Uchiha Madara responded indifferently, looked at Obito at the same time, and said, Obito, come here. Obito walked to Uchiha Madara, knowing that this was Uchiha Madara's last request. The infinite Tsukuyomi plan. I already told you. You go to a man named Uzumaki Nagato. Uchiha Madara told Obito what to do next, and Obito memorized it carefully and nodded slightly, daring not to make any mistakes. Everything. Uchiha Madara glanced at Obito lightly. Black Zetsu and White Zetsu will help you. I hope you can fulfill my entrustment. Got it. Obito said seriously. At this time Obito's mind had completely changed, and his tone was somewhat cold and full of hatred. Obito, from today onwards, you are Uchiha Madara. You survive as Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara said lightly. Well. After the entrustment was over, Uchiha Madara glanced at Chen and smiled. It's over. This time, I won't use Izanagi again. Spoke. Uchiha Madara pulled out the chakra pipe behind Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. After pulling out the chakra pipe of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, Uchiha Madara sat on the stone chair. He slowly closed his eyes. his expression was calm and peaceful. As if it were not death that was coming, but sleep. Uchiha Madara closed his eyes and left without moving. Chen sighed lightly, knowing that from today onwards, the once powerful figure in the ninja world has passed away. So calm and peaceful. Thank you for your donations and other support. Watermelon is very grateful. 393 New 4th Hokage, Orochimaru Betrayal Village. Uchiha Madara is dead. Before dying, he didn't have any anxiety or fear, just faced death calmly and closed his eyes slowly. Chen also sighed lightly, full of surprise and admiration for this person standing on the top of the ninja world. It's over. Chen sighed softly, then his figure disappeared and left slowly. Chen's figure disappeared in this cave and returned to the land of rain. And Obito watched Chen's departure, frowning deeply. He could never see through this mysterious man wearing a mask, and Black Zetsu and White Zetsu also kept a close eye on this man and didn't tell him Chen's identity. But Obito doesn't care anymore, and now there is only one thing he really cares about, and that is the implementation of the Infinite Tsukuyomi Plan. To implement the Infinite Tsukuyomi Plan, you must first capture the 9-tailed beast and summon 10 tails. Obito has already started planning and preparing for everything, with Black Zetsu and White Zetsu assisting him. The sky of the ninja world has gradually changed color, and it has begun to change gradually. The Land of Rain, Akatsuki's headquarters. Chen's eyes are far away, looking at the misty rain curtain in front of him, thinking about the plan in his heart. Boy, hey, don't worry about it. With your strength, you are now one of the best in the ninja world, so why worry? But I saw the 6 Paths fairy in the ring and said. Chen shook his head. Although this is the case for now, the enemies in the future will only become stronger and stronger. The future Uchiha Madara, and the Senju Hashirama in the heyday of impure world reincarnation, are too terrifying. Although Chen's current strength has reached the level of Eternal Mangekyo and complete Susanoo, he is still a step behind Senju Hashirama in Sage Art State and Uchiha Madara with Rinnegan. These two are now at the top of the real ninja. Sage Art and Rinnegan, it seems that I should almost find a way to practice Sage Art, or let Rinnegan open his eyes as soon as possible. Chen whispered to himself. Standing on the tallest building in the Land of Rain, Chen looked down at everything, looked at the misty rain, and had already made up his mind. Chen's current strength has also reached a bottleneck. If he wants to go further, he must get Rinnegan, or practice Sage Art. The yang escape power in his body is accumulating over time, and it is only a matter of time before Rinnegan is activated. As for practicing Sage Art, it is very promising. The old man of 6 Paths said, "What are you worried about, kid? Judging from the growth of your current yang dun power, that is, in a few years, you can start Rinnegan. And I guess that the Rinnegan you stimulated by yang, relying on the power of yang escape to open your eyes, will be stronger than the ordinary Rinnegan." Oh. Chen immediately became interested, his eyes narrowed slightly. This was news. Chen's physique seems to be a bit special in itself, because of his qualifications. When Chen got Mangekyo turned on, Susanoo was golden, and listening to the 6 Paths Immortal's tone, his Rinnegan would also be different, which made Chen even more interest. You'll know it later, but it's still in front of you now. 6 Paths old man lazily said. That's right. Tatsu looked at the current Akatsuki. Today's Akatsuki, development has reached a bottleneck. With the gradual growth of Akatsuki, there has been a problem, that is, the scale of Akatsuki has grown to more than 2,000 people, and the Uchiha clan brought by Chen, Akatsuki's number and strength have also reached an ultimate state. It has already aroused the vigilance of Hanzo, the leader of a Megakure village. At the moment, Hanzo is expected to attack Akatsuki sooner or later. Chen closed his eyes. It seems that another plot in the original work is coming soon, Yahiko's death. After entering the death of Yahiko, Nagato's personality changed greatly, and he began to pursue violent peace. He was bewitched by Obito and gradually aimed to collect tailed beasts. All this is under Chen's control. Brother Chen, there is information. When Chen was thinking about it, he saw pieces of paper flying from the sky. These white pieces of paper were like butterflies, lingering around Chen. After a while, they formed a lovely figure. It was Conan. Conan's clear eyes looked at Chen, the corners of his mouth showed joy, and he smiled softly, holding information from various countries in his hands. Conan is currently in charge of the intelligence network, keeping everything in order. Well. Chen smiled, took the information, and touched Conan's head. Conan smiled cutely, leaned against Chen's side, and said, "This time the information seems to be more important. I haven't had time to read it yet." Well. Chen heard the words and immediately looked up. Sure enough, the information was printed into Chen's eyes, and Chen's expression moved slightly. The information this time was indeed not ordinary. Only to see what happened in various countries are clearly written on it, and one of them caught Chen's attention. The third generation of Hokage of Konoha village, Sarutobi Hiruzen, voluntarily abdicated to let Shion, Huang Shining Namikaze Minato became the fourth generation of Hokage. Chen's eyelids twitched slightly. Namikaze Minato has become the fourth generation Hokage. Minato became Hokage. It seems that the next day is not far away. Chen narrowed his eyes, thinking that after the death of Uchiha Madara, the world of ninja might be a lot more peaceful, but it seems that it is still a troubled time. In addition, there is also a piece of news that is reasonable. Since Chen rebelled against the village, the news of Orochimaru's human experiment has been noticed by Konoha, and Orochimaru had to leave Konoha. Of course, Orochimaru has always been conspiring with Danzo, and even Orochimaru used Senjuhashirama's cells to help Danzo pick up his right arm, making Danzo's arm temporarily restored. Under such circumstances, Orochimaru left the village. But Orochimaru is also a smart man, and he also left himself behind. Orochimaru has long established a stronghold in Otogakure village of the Land of Fields, and this time Orochimaru escaped to the Land of Fields, Otogakure village. All the mountains and rains were about to come. Chen stood on the tallest building in the Land of Rain, looking down at all the territory of the Land of Rain, and seemed to vaguely see the next fight. For automatic, see the underlined version of the novel. 394 Hanzo's Messenger, Akatsuki's Change. Brother Chen, what are you thinking about? Conan stretched out his hand, and his white and tender fingers swayed back and forth in front of Chen, making Chen smile slightly, and he also clenched Conan's wrist. Chen smiled and said, "I'm afraid there will be more and more things. Orochimaru betrayed Konoha. Namikaze Minato became the fourth generation of Hokage." Conan was slightly surprised when he heard this, approached Chen, and said, "Then what should we do?" Chen's tone was a little weird. "Just wait and see, there should be news soon." At this time, it was the 47th year of Konoha, and the Third Ninja War ended, but the ninja world was still a little turbulent, Chen thought in his heart, and already felt the changes in the future ninja world. Oh. Conan saw Chen's expression of contemplation, and knew that Chen also had an idea, and immediately nodded slightly, expressing his understanding obediently. Chen chuckled and hugged Conan's waist. "In the next period of time, please help me pay attention to the movements of Kurigakure village, and by the way, help me pay attention to a person named Uchiha Obito." Chen asked Conan to pay more attention to Obito's information, because Chen could feel that Obito would definitely go to Kurigakure village. Uchiha Madara left Obito with a lot of power, including the power of Kurigakure village, and Uchiha Madara also used the power of Kurigakure village to make Rindai. So Chen judged that Obito will definitely go to Kurigakure village to recruit people next. It seems that the ghost shark in the original book was persuaded by Obito in this way. "Yes, I see," Conan said seriously. Chen touched Conan's head and smiled. "Don't be so serious, let's go back." Well. Conan smiled sweetly, leaning tightly against Chen's side, with a little smile on his face, a sweet smile. Chen looked so cute and couldn't help kissing Conan's cheek, and then took Conan to Akatsuki's base. Few days later, At Akatsuki's base. On this day, Akatsuki had an unexpected guest. Yahiko and Nagato entered Chen's meeting room and said, "Teacher, something has happened." "What's wrong?" Chen looked at Yahiko and Nagato and asked aloud. Yahiko and Nagato looked at each other. Nagato said, "It's Hanzo. Hanzo sent an envoy here." "Oh, Hanzo." Chen narrowed his eyes. Hanzo, the old fox, finally couldn't sit still. Hanzo has always been a careerist and has a strong desire to control the Land of Rain. Now, seeing the growth of Akatsuki and Tenten, he can't help but prepare to take action. "Well, teacher, do you want to go out and see?" Nagato is now both Nagato and Yahiko is Tatsuma. Chen shook his head. "Yahiko, you are now Akatsuki's nominal leader. I have always been in the dark. This time it's up to you to deal with it. I'll be watching from the side." "Yes." Yahiko agreed and hurriedly received Hanzo's messenger. Both Yahiko and Nagato respect Hanzo very much. After all, Hanzo is regarded as a demigod by the Omegakure village and the ninja world, and his strength is also superior. He is also the leader of the Omegakure village and enjoys a high prestige. Hanzo's messenger is a middle-aged man, left. He wore a blindfold and looked very serious. Yahiko and Nagato received the Hanzo messenger seriously. The messenger said, "You are the leader of Akatsuki, Your Excellency Yahiko, I am Hanzo's deputy. Your Akatsuki deeds, and I know that you have developed very quickly. Hanzo asked me to send me a letter, please accept it." After Yahiko read the letter, his eyes moved slightly, and he raised his head and said, "Is this true?" "Well, Hanzo wants to meet you." Messenger replied, "Hanzo has acknowledged Akatsuki, and I hope you can work together." Hanzo hopes to entrust Akatsuki with the task of negotiating peace among the 3 countries around Omegakure village and entrust it to you. Please tell Hanzo-sama, we know. A flash of joy flashed in Yahiko's eyes, which was great news, making both Yahiko and Nagato look happy. "Well, then please. Hanzo wants to see you in 3 days. The messenger answered. "Understood." Akatsuki were a little excited when Hanzo's messenger was sent away, and Nagato and Yahiko shared the news with Chen for the first time. When Chen got the news, he narrowed his eyes and flashed a trace of disdain. Hanzo is still the old fox. It seems that the death of Yahiko in the plot will appear soon. "Teacher, Hanzo offered to meet us and he finally officially recognized as Akatsuki." Yahiko moved towards Chen Road excitedly. Chen nodded slightly. "Since that's the case, you should go and meet Hanzo. Yahiko, I'll entrust this matter to you." "Yes." Yahiko nodded vigorously. Yahiko didn't know what was about to happen next, and looked at Nagato, both very excited. When Yahiko and Nagato left, Chen said to himself, "Hanzo, the so-called demigod, I hope you can make progress during this time, otherwise." Chen squinted his eyes. The cold light in his eyes flashed away, showing a trace of murderous intent. Chen has always hated Hanzo. This guy had wanted Chen before, and even offered a reward of tens of millions to buy Chen's head. But what makes Chen a little puzzled is that in the original work, the 2 conspirators, Hanzo and Danzo, colluded, and finally killed Yahiko, causing Nagato to run wild. But now, Danzo doesn't seem to appear, and becomes much more honest. Thinking about it, Chen also quickly understood the reason. It is estimated that Namikaze Minato is in power in Konoha, and he is even more wary of Danzo, which makes Danzo suppressed in Konoha so badly that there is no room for him to play. Thinking of this, Chen smiled slightly. "Hanzo, this time, I want to see you. The so-called demigod, what level of strength has it reached? I hope it can arouse my interest, don't let me down." Chen muttered to himself. "Thank you all for your support. The weather is freezing, the baby is freezing to death, the baby still has to code words, pit. 395 The so-called demigod. Rain kept falling. In a famous building in Omegakure village, the surrounding is heavily guarded, all elite Omegakure, even including 2 quasi-shadow powerhouses are guarding. Hanzo's character is very cautious. and there are special trusted guards by his side for 20 hours, responsible for Hanzo's safety. In the dim light, Hanzo looked at the information, his brows furrowed, his facial expression a little gloomy. Akatsuki didn't expect that Akatsuki has developed to this level in just a few years. HMPH, it seems that it must be eliminated. This is definitely a factor of instability in the village. Hanzo's expression became extremely gloomy and his eyes flickered. I heard that the young people in Akatsuki are very strong, and I don't know how strong they are. Mizuki, bring everyone with you, and when the time comes to meet, first ambush and surround them. Cage-level powerhouse by Hanzo's side, named Mizuki, who is one of Hanzo's cronies. This Shuimu nodded seriously and said, "Don't worry, my lord, I will prepare everything." Very well, this operation is critical and I don't want any mistakes. That damn Akatsuki, I don't want to hear anything from Akatsuki afterwards. Half-stored cold road. Yes. Shuimu nodded, and immediately took someone to arrange it. 3 days later. Finally, the day Hanzo agreed with Yahiko and the others arrived. This day, Tatsuya let Yahiko and Nagato set out, and only the two of them went to negotiate with Hanzo. And Chen is a person who follows them from a distance, observing everything secretly. In the original plot, it was Obito who secretly controlled everything, but this time it was Chen's layout. Perhaps because of the reminders from Black Zetsu and White Zetsu, Obito has not been in contact with Nagato for the time being. Yahiko and Nagato act alone and go to meet Hanzo. In the sky, the rain seemed to be falling even more. Chen slowly walked behind, followed by Yahiko and Nagato, but it seemed that everyone was unaware of it. The strength of this moment has indeed reached another level, and neither Yahiko nor Nagato can detect it. Soon, both Yahiko and Nagato arrived at the meeting place. At this time, Yahiko and Nagato also noticed something was wrong, and there was a dignified atmosphere in the air, making Nagato subconsciously a little nervous. Nagato possesses Rinnegan after all, and has a keen sense of danger. Yahiko, something seems wrong. Just as Nagato opened his mouth, he saw several familiar figures appearing high up ahead. Hanzo's figure emerged. Hanzo was standing on a huge rock, looking down at Nagato and Yahiko high, chuckling lightly, with a bit of gloom in his eyes. Yahiko, Nagato, you are here. Yahiko didn't notice anything unusual, and Yaetu said, Lord Hanzo, I'm here to negotiate. Well, I know, but this time there is no need to negotiate, I have already made a decision. Hanzo smiled faintly, and the smile became more gloomy. This time, both of you will be buried here. What? Yahiko was surprised, but saw hundreds of Omegakers appearing in Joe. These Omegakers. Fully armed, obviously Hanzo's elite. Among them, almost all of them are ninjas above Jonin. Hundreds of people surrounded Yahiko and Nagato, and the surrounding area was impassable, causing both Yahiko and Nagato to change their expressions and feel a dark atmosphere. This is... Both Yahiko and Nagato felt that something was wrong and were very vigilant. Nagato even took out kunai and was always ready to fight. It's useless, this will be your burial place, I already said it. Hundreds of Omegakers surrounded Nagato and Yahiko, and Hanzo was surrounded by 2 quasi-shadow masters, plus Hanzo himself. Under such circumstances, Yahiko and Nagato have almost no chance of winning. Why? Yahiko looked at Hanzo and murmured. There is no reason, because you Akatsuki have violated the interests of my Omegakure village, so you must die. Hanzo snorted coldly and said, do it. Hundreds of Omegakers attack at the same time, and both Nagato and Yahiko are on the verge of extreme danger. Nagato, leave me alone, run away first. The goal of these people should only be the leader of my Akatsuki organization. You must not be caught by them, but you have Rinnegan, the hope of the future ninja world. Yahiko said loudly. Nagato's expression warmed, but he shook his head vigorously. No, if we want to go, let's go together. You go first, go to the teacher to help, only the teacher can save us. Yahiko said even more. Nagato's expression moved slightly, and he finally nodded, ready to break through. But it was already too late. Under Hanzo's order, countless kunai were thrown out, and some of these kunai were also tied with detonating talismans, and the detonating talismans exploded instantly, generating a strong shock wave. Hundreds of kunai attacks, even the current Yahiko and Nagato are hard to resist. At the same time, Hanzo also launched an attack, and Hanzo also threw Kuei out, this time grabbing a blind spot and facing Nagato. Hanzo's strength is definitely at an advanced cage level. He is old and powerful, and his strength is very terrifying. Under Hanzo's fierce attack, he sees Nagato facing a great crisis. At this critical moment, Nagato was too late to dodge. Yahiko noticed this moment. He rushed forward and blocked the kunai with his body. Kunai pierced the heart of Yahiko in the middle. Yahiko spit out a large mouthful of blood, and at the same time, kunai's detonating charm exploded. Yahiko completely endured the explosion of the detonating charm. Yahiko! Nagato shouted, his eyes filled with anxiety, and rushed towards Yahiko. At this time, Yahiko's pupils were dilated, and it was obvious that the blow just now caused great damage to Yahiko. Long gate. Yahiko felt that his power was gradually fading. Nagato knew that Yahiko was resisting the next blow for himself, and that he fell to this point. He bit Kiba even more in his heart. Anger burst out from Nagato's body, and his emotions gradually spread. Nagato, if you want, you have to live well. Yahiko said and closed his eyes. For automatic, see the underlined version of the novel. 396 Psychic, Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path. Nagato, you want to live well. Yahiko said. He finally closed his eyes and fell in front of Nagato. Nagato was stunned. He didn't know what to do at all. The scene in front of him was deeply imprinted in his mind, making Nagato unable to even breathe, completely shocked. Yahiko fell in front of Nagato, but saw Yahiko's blood flowing out continuously, the blood all over the place. Yahiko closed his eyes forever. The scene in front of him was like hell to Nagato. That. The young man who died should be Akatsuki's leader, so he can be considered to have eliminated a serious problem. Hanzo looked at the dead Yahiko, snorted softly, and thought to himself. Hanzo only knew that Yahiko was the leader of Akatsuki, so when he saw Yahiko's death, he was very happy. Of course, with Hanzo's cautious character, we must cut the grass and root it out. From Hanzo's point of view, Nagato was already dead. Do everything and kill the kid next to you. Hanzo shouted loudly. Yes. Hundreds of Omegakers in the surroundings all shot in unison, and kunai shot out, all attacking Nagato. Nagato roared, only to feel a majestic chakra emerging from his body. This chakra filled the sky and the earth, and the eruption circled, like a volcanic eruption, showing extraordinary power. I saw Nagato's pupils shrunk suddenly, and when he roared, his eyes seemed to release a terrifying chakra. This is... Hanzo suddenly noticed Nagato's eyes. Because Nagato had previously covered his eyes with his hair to cover it up, Hanzo didn't notice the abnormality of Nagato's eyes. Looking at it now, Hanzo was shocked. The pattern of the ripples, as well as the color and shape. This Rinnegan, the most supreme among the 3 legendary pupil techniques. The eyes of the legendary Six Paths Fairy, the Rinnegan who rules life and death. Hanzo was extremely shocked and looked at Nagato in astonishment. Can't go wrong, it's definitely Rinnegan. Hanzo is also well informed. Of course, he knows the legend of Rinnegan, and now he confirms that Nagato's eyes are the legendary Rinnegan. Hanzo! Nagato shouted loudly, chakra surging all over his body, and a violent sound broke out. No, stop this kid. Hanzo also said tightly. Hanzo's subordinates all rushed out, and a Megaker entered Nagato at the same time. Nagato roared and began to prepare ninjutsu. Those Omegakers stabbed both shuriken and kunai towards Nagato frantically, but Nagato moved abruptly, stretched out his hand, but saw a huge repulsive force expelled, and all shuriken and suffering to fly. Chen narrowed his eyes. Did Nagato finally inspire the power of Rinnegan? The repulsive force Nagato used just now was the power of the Shinra Tensei, Almighty Push, sign. It seems that because of Yahiko's death, Nagato has stimulated his potential, and gradually. After understanding the power of Rinnegan, you can use the power of Rinnegan. If Nagato is a complete master Rinnegan, his strength will also become quite terrifying. It can be called a demigod. Chen secretly said in his heart. If Nagato continues to grow and master has all the abilities of Rinnegan, the strength will become quite scary. Looks like I'll have to figure out a way to restrain Nagato's Rinnegan from now on. Chen secretly said. Although Hanzo was shocked by Nagato's Rinnegan at this time, he still kept his calm and sneered. Kaiden Fire Style Exploding Flame Formation. This Kaiden Fire Style Exploding Flame Formation is one of Hanzo's best ninjutsu, level ninjutsu. I only saw Hanzo's palm slap on the ground, and at the same time, an astonishing chakra emerged, and countless detonating talismans appeared at the foot of Nagato. There were hundreds or even thousands of detonating talismans, and they continued to burn and explode against Nagato's feet. The flames suddenly surged, and Nagato was in the flames. Did it work? Hanzo whispered to himself, staring closely at the raging flames, and he gradually had a bad premonition in his heart. He didn't expect that one of the Akatsuki teenagers actually had a Rinnegan. The situation has far exceeded Hanzo's imagination. Hanzo roared amidst the flames, only to see that Nagato's legs had been burned by the flames, with scars on them, and the flesh had been burned. The anger in Nagato's heart couldn't be increased, staring at Hanzo and shouting, and then the chakra around him surged out, and the chakra began to grow like crazy. What's going on with this teenager with Rinnegan? Hanzo was shocked. Other Omegakers also gradually felt that something was wrong, and the Yuhi-haired boy in front of him was indeed a little weird. The Omegakers subconsciously took a few steps back. In the flames, Nagato's feet were severely burned, but he forcibly supported his body and glanced at the dead Yahiko beside him. His anger continued to rise, and he finally made a decision. At this moment, Nagato's Rinnegan was completely stimulated, and he immediately understood the use of many Rinnegan. Almost instinctively, he used a ninjutsu. Psychic, Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path. Nagato shouted angrily. Psychic, Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path. What? Hanzo's pupils shrank, and he saw this piece of earth vibrate, and a gigantic behemoth nearly a kilometer long burst out of the soil. With a loud bang, all the surrounding soil was dug out, and Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, was fully revealed. Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, is as high as hundreds of meters, nearly 1,000 meters in length and breadth, a behemoth. Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, is a huge humanoid with 9 eyes, color and body like dead wood, and 10 Jinchuriki column-like protrusions on the back, like 10 tails broken by 10 tails. At this time, the appearance of Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, made Chenya narrow his eyes slightly. Having channeled Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, out, Nagato will cost a lot this time. Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, roared. This was the first time Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, appeared in front of the world, and it shocked all Omegakure. Little Cold, Pit Father. 397 Crazy Nagato, Crazy Rinnegan. Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, roared furiously, and with the palm of his hand, dozens of Omegakure were buried under the palm of Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path. The scene at this time is like hell, and Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, is like a demon in hell, attacking like crazy, just like Nagato's emotions at this moment. Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, is the shell of the 10 tails, but also has attack power. Just want to use Geto Mazo, Demonic Statue of the Outer Path, for himself, but it will consume a lot of chakra, and even consume life force. Chen stared at Nagato's figure below and muttered to himself. Nagato finally took this path, just like in the original book. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is channeled and everyone is shocked by this monster. Even Hanzo, who has no idea of the origin of this Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. It's just that Hanzo felt a lot of chakras from the body of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. These chakras are very huge, but they are only leftovers, which changed Hanzo's expression and felt Gedo Mazo even more. Demonic statue of the outer path is not simple. This is also a natural thing. The chakra of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is composed of the chakra of the tailed beast, and of course it is very scary. But now in Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, there are only some chakras left by tailed beasts. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, does not have strong attack. Under such circumstances, Nagato roared angrily, only to see black sticks popping up from Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. These black sticks from Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, it was provoked from above, and all inserted into Nagato's body. Immediately afterwards, the chakra of Nagato's body was passed to Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, through these black rods. These black rods are probably the black rods that Nagato will use to control the Six Paths clone in the future. Chen whispered to himself, observing everything. The current Nagato has fallen into a state of madness, similar to Obito's madness for Rin at the time, but Nagato is for men. The chakra in Nagato's body is continuously delivered to Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, which makes Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, almost alive, full of vitality. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, roared again and again, slapped his left and right hands, and directly knocked over nearly 100 Omegakurs around them. These Omegakurs screamed and were all instantly killed by Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. The power of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, can be seen in Madara. At the same time, I only saw Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, madly absorbing Nagato's chakra. Nagato seems to be sucked dry by Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Nagato's whole body, his skin was drying up at a speed visible to the naked eye. Originally, Nagato was considered to be Jojung, but at this moment, he looked as thin as a piece of bone. Nagato's eye sockets also sunken, and his body becomes gradually weakened. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is so easy to control. Chen shook his head, sighed softly, and said in a low voice. The strength of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is definitely a psychic beast of the Hokage world. But how can Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, be such a good master? Even if Nagato has Rinnegan, a little carelessness will devour itself. But seeing Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, burst out with power, when he opened his mouth, he spit out a large purple dragon from the mouth of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Chakra composition, ferocious roar, skyrocketing. Get up. This purple dragon is the blow of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. As soon as this purple dragon appears, it instantly devours all the chakras of Omegakure in the field. These Omegakure screamed again and again, as if something terrifying had happened. They all yelled, their legs didn't obey, and they wanted to leave immediately. Of these Omegakures were all swallowed up by the purple dragon vomited by Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. After those Omegakures lost their chakras, they all fell to the ground, twitched, and eventually died. Shows how powerful and evil the chakra of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is. Even the chakra of the enemy can be taken away. Hundreds of Omegakures around were swallowed up by the purple dragon's chakra at this time, and all fell to the ground. Hanzo looked heartbroken. These were his most loyal subordinates, but the Yuhi-haired boy in front of him made him look like this. Damn boy, I must make you pay. Hanzo roared in his heart, but he also knew the danger of this kid. The legendary Rinnegan, how could Hanzo be shocked by such a boy, only thinking about retreating first? This kid is really evil. It seems that he is the real leader behind Akatsuki. Akatsuki's organization is really not simple. I will go back first, and it will not be too late to find trouble with this kid. Hanzo had already made a decision in his heart, secretly said, and then prepared to retreat. Hanzo thought of this, and he immediately prepared to retreat. At this time, the purple dragon suddenly caught up, trying to devour Hanzo. Hanzo's hands were fast, he shouted loudly, and instantly hand-sealed, sketch. Hanzo's telekinesis is very powerful. Because of his cautious and suspicious nature, he often practices the telekinesis very hard. Only a few people in the entire ninja world can match his telekinesis. Of course, Chen must be among them. The half-hidden figure flashed instantly, and it was already hundreds of meters away. Hanzo's strength seems to have improved again, and it's finally interesting. Chen watched Hanzo dodging the attack of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he sighed in a low voice. Chen finally took some interest in Hanzo. The strength of this so-called demigod is quite good. Among the many cage-level powerhouses, Hanzo should belong to the top. In the beginning, Hanzo was able to defeat Orochimaru, Tsunade, and Jiraiya, who were just entering the cage level by himself. Of course, his current strength is not bad. And Hanzo's strength seems to have grown a bit in recent years. Hanzo's strength finally made Chen interested, and he had already made a decision in his heart that he would have a good meeting with Hanzo for a while. At this time, Hanzo escaped temporarily, but Chen was not worried at all. Hanzo was in the country of rain, and he could find Hanzo whenever he wanted. Being stared at by Chen, Hanzo will definitely not survive for a few days. Chen looked at Nagato in the arena, sighed softly, and walked slowly towards Nagato. Please subscribe. Thank you for your support. 398 Chen's decision to conquer the country of rain. In the sky, the rain continued to fall, the raindrops splashed, and the thunder burst, as if the sky was crying. Nagato, on the other hand, lost his eyes and looked at the corpse of Yahiko, who had been out of breath for a long time. Hanzo had already escaped, and the other ninjas of Omegakure village were all buried here. There were Omegakure's corpses everywhere, and the blood flowed into rivers, which looked extremely shocking. And Nagato didn't care at all, just stared at Yahiko's body, completely speechless. Nagato's worldview is almost on the verge of collapse at this moment. At this time, Chen appeared. Wearing Akatsuki's black-bottomed Yui Cloud costume, Chen walked slowly, walked to Nagato, and looked at Nagato. Only then did Nagato notice Chen, and a gleam of light appeared in his eyes, as if he had grabbed a life-saving straw, looked at Chen and said, "Teacher, Yahiko. I see, I was going to come to rescue just now, but it was a step too late." Chen replied. Chen can only explain to Nagato like this. Nagato's eyes flashed a ray of light, and he said, "Teacher, can you save Yahiko?" In Nagato's heart, Chen is like an omnipotent god who has the power to control everything. But this time Chen disappointed him. Chen looked at Yahiko's body, squatted down, and found that Yahiko's body was even slightly chilled. He couldn't help shaking his head and said, "No way, Yahiko is already dead." A deep disappointment flashed in Nagato's eyes, and he was even a little confused. Chen looked at Nagato's injured foot. Knowing that Nagato might not be able to walk anymore, Chen shook his head, and simply helped Nagato to deal with the dressing, and then said, "Let's go back to Akatsuki's base first, this matter leave it to me, and I'll make Hanzo pay the price." Nagato heard this, his eyes lit up slightly, but his tone was still full of unwillingness. "Yahiko, he died for his own ideals, and sure enough, there is no friendly peace in this world simply by peaceful means. It is impossible to bring hope to this world." Nagato had completely turned black at this time, his personality had changed drastically, and there was a hint of hatred in those innocent eyes. Chen also squinted his eyes slightly when he saw it, and thought to himself, as expected, Uchiha Madara is right, the power of hatred is real. It is too strong, and it can even easily make people lose themselves, which is the case with Nagato today. Long gait. Chen patted Nagato's shoulder. "That's why I plan to unify the ninja world. As long as the ninja world is unified, this kind of thing will not happen. Light flashed in Nagato's eyes, and he nodded vigorously. Chen Dao, but before that, we must first solve the hidden danger of the rain country. Now that Hanzo has discovered the existence of Akatsuki, I want to get rid of the hidden danger of Hanzo, first put it in the rain. Hearing Hanzo's name, Nagato flashed a trace of hatred and agreed. Chen can see that Nagato has turned black at this time. I am afraid that Nagato starts to hate the ugliness of this world because of Yahiko's death, so there will be a matter of collecting tailed beasts to destroy Konoha later. Now that Nagato has begun to be paranoid about Buchan's words, he can still listen to some. After all, he is still his teacher. Under such circumstances, Tatsuya could only temporarily guide Nagato. Nagato looked at Yahiko's corpse and said, "Teacher, I want to take Yahiko's corpse back. I now have a part of Rinnegan's power as master and can use Rinnegan's power." Good. Chen knows what Nagato wants to do. Nagato obviously wants to make Yahiko's body into a god, and commemorate Yahiko in this way. Chen also agreed, but he was a little more vigilant about Nagato, who was now blackened. Such a blackened Nagato's character is in a state of paranoia. In the original book, even the teacher Jiraiya was killed. Only Naruto, who has the protagonist's halo, can persuade Nagato with his mouth. Chen is not sure. Nagato kept Yahiko's body, and Chen took Nagato back to Akatsuki's base. Inside Akatsuki's base, Nagato took Yahiko's body, and Tatsu gathered all the current core members of Akatsuki. Konan, Koke, Sasori, Kushina, Makoto, and the second and third elders of Uchiha, all gathered together and watched Chen in the council hall. Chen looked at Kushina, Konan and others, but Nagato was not here. He should have gone to make Yahiko into Tenshinto. Chen shook his head and briefly told Kushina, Konan and others about Yahiko's death, and everyone was surprised. "Brother Chen, Yahiko is really..." Konan was stunned and looked at Chen. Chen nodded. "Yes, he is already dead." Of Yahiko made Konan quite surprised and even more shocked. Yahiko died unexpectedly. Although Konan and Yahiko didn't have a deep relationship, they had known each other since childhood, and they were silent at the moment. Hanzo is very powerful, and now he still knows about Akatsuki's existence and wants to attack us. Chen, what are you going to do? The second elder looked at Shang Chen and couldn't help asking aloud. Chen smiled lightly and said, "Of course it's Kiba for Kiba." That's right. Although Hanzo is known as a demigod, he is probably not Chen's opponent. He has been killed by Nagato to kill so many elite subordinates. Now it is not a concern. Maybe Chen can kill him alone. The three elders laughed. Among Akatsuki, the second elder and the third elder have been integrated quickly, and they have made suggestions for Chen, and Chen also trusts them very much. Chen shook his head. "No, this time I plan to dispatch all of us. Everyone, go to the place where Hanzo is with me, and kill Hanzo." What? Everyone did not understand Chen's intentions. After all, they all know Chen's strength. To deal with Hanzo, Chen alone should be enough. Do you need to be so active? I plan to reveal the power of our Akatsuki to the world for the first time, so you all follow me. I hope from tomorrow onwards, the masters of the Land of Rain will no longer be Hanzo, but us. Chen said lightly. In one sentence, the blood of everyone present was boiling, and all eyes lit up. Chen's plan is to conquer the country of rain. No wonder all the personnel are dispatched. This is to show the absolute power of Akatsuki. Collect, recommend, and divide. 399 kill with me. Chen, you really decided? The second elder and the third elder looked at Chen and asked aloud. They could all see Chen's plans and ambitions. All Akatsuki members are dispatched in order to conquer the country of rain and bring the country of rain into the bag first. This is also a step in Akatsuki's original plan. Akatsuki in the original book turned the country of rain into his own country and cultivated a group of power. Chen of course also has this plan. The country of rain is in a position where the three major countries border, and the geographical location is very important. And more importantly, the country of rain rains all year round, and few ninjas from other countries enter. It is like a small closed country. If Chen can conquer the country of rain, it will undoubtedly be very beneficial to his future plans. What's more, some of Hanzo's elite subordinates have died at the hands of Nagato, which is even more a surprise to Chen. Is the best time to defeat Hanzo? Well. Chen nodded and looked at everyone. Zhao, Du, Sasori and others did not dare to look at Chen. Chen said lightly, "This is the first step for us to conquer the ninja world." The first step to conquer the ninja world. Chen's words were firm as iron, and once again made everyone's heart move. Kokaku, Tu and Sasori are both ambitious guys. When they heard Tatsu say this, they were immediately excited, especially Tu, who was even more amazed at Tatsu's handwriting. "This time you all get involved and follow me." Chen rode. Yes. Everyone nodded earnestly and looked at Shang Chen, with a strong look of anticipation flashing in their eyes. Chen said indifferently, "Nagato has a foot injury, so he should not be able to walk, so let him recover temporarily. Leave 2 people to look after him." Yes. Everyone still nodded. No one dared to go against Chen's intentions. "Teacher." But at this moment, the voice of Nagato was heard. "I only saw Nagato make a moving tool similar to 2 wheels for himself. Nagato sits in it, but he can move slowly." Chen looked at Nagato. The current Nagato and the Nagato in his original memory also overlapped. Yuhi-colored hair, skinny, purple Rinnegan, sitting on a wheelbarrow. Nagato. Chen looked at Nagato and said, "I'll handle the matter this time, you can rest for a while." "No, teacher, I want to see Hanzo die with my own eyes." Nagato shook his head firmly and said in a low voice. "And teacher, although I'm not as flexible as before, but my strength has greatly increased, and I still have Rinnegan." Spoke. Nagato's Rinnegan moved slightly and saw a figure slowly walk in from outside the door. This person is Yahiko, who is made of Yahiko by Nagato, with black sticks all over his body, used to receive and conduct chakra, and Nagato controls his actions. Tenshin Dao, pain. Nagato said, "From now on, I will code-named Pa in operation. Yahiko will always help me by my side. Teacher, this time I must participate in dealing with Hanzo, Hanzo." Chen was silent for a while. Shen. Moaning this, he said, "All right, since that's the case, you will be Akatsuki's nominal leader in the future." Previously, Akatsuki's nominal leader was Yahiko, and Chen has been in control of everything behind the scenes. Now that Nagato's Rinnegan has awakened, Chen has decided to temporarily designate Akatsuki's nominal leader as Nagato. Chen and the others are Konoha missing nin after all, and their every move is being spied on by ninjas from all over the world, so Chen doesn't plan to reveal his identity. Yes. Nagato nodded slightly, looked at Yahiko's corpse, and muttered, "No matter what. How, Yahiko, the leader of Akatsuki will always be you." Nagato intends to act with Yahiko as the way of tension, and Chen also understands that from today, the pain heavenly path is born. To be said that Nagato and Yahiko are really passionate, Nagato regards Yahiko as the most important person from beginning to end, so they run wild. Nagato's mutation made everyone see it. Sasori and Kakuno, they both looked at each other, and they were all shocked. Of course, they could see the difference in Nagato. At this time, Nagato's strength became extremely terrible, awakened part Rinnegan's power. Nagato's power at this time is not as good as Tatsu, but it is extremely terrifying, much stronger than them. Of course Chen also understands this. Fortunately, although Nagato's Rinnegan is strong, this pair of Rinnegan is not Nagato's own, but belongs to Uchiha Madara. Nagato still couldn't fully play the role of Rinnegan, plus the injury on Nagato's foot. Nagato's strength at this time is still not as good as Tatsu. Boy, this little devil of Rinnegan has changed his mind. If he used to pursue peace wholeheartedly, now he wants to pursue peace in an extreme way. The voice of the 6 paths old man came from the ring. Chen Dang let know this. Nagato's mind is very dangerous now, so in the original work, he was bewitched and used by Obito. But Chen didn't take it to heart. Nagato couldn't affect his plans. Well, you are right, old man, but he is still useful to me, and I will control it. Chen said lightly. That's fine. Chen glanced at everyone and said lightly, let's go, come with me to find Hanzo. When everyone heard the words, they were all refreshed. The core members of these Akatsuki are all following Chen. Not only them, but also other ordinary members of Akatsuki are also behind Chen, and go to the largest city in the country of rain. This is also where Hanzo controls the land of rain. Soon, Chen and the others were gradually approaching the center of the rain country. Along the way, I met a lot of Omegakers, but they were all easily solved by Chen and others. Chen didn't even need to take a shot, and was easily solved by Sasori and others. At present, the power of a Megaker is simply not enough in the eyes of Chen and others. Finally, Chen gradually approached the most central city in the land of rain. Along the way, nearly 100 Omegakers have been killed by Chen and others. These Omegakers also quickly notified Hanzo, and when Hanzo heard the words, he was also shocked. I didn't expect Akatsuki to be so bold and dare to come to the door. Hey! The protagonist started to run wild. Please be automatic, please reward, please subscribe. Look the underlined version of the novel. 400 Hanzo, come out and lead to death. Brother Chen, Hanzo is right there. Conan pointed to the tallest building in the city. Chen squinted his eyes, looked at the spire-like building, and nodded slightly. Of course Chen knew where Hanzo was, but Chen had come here to attend the Five Shadows talks. Is this the place where Hanzo is located? HMPH, a Megaker village looks nothing more than that. Sasori, still hiding in the puppet Hiryuhu, spoke in a hoarse voice. I think so too. Corner, they all snorted coldly. Akatsuki's members are all rebellious and arrogant, and only Chen can tame them. Although Hanzo is strong, Kaku, Do and Sasori are not weak. They have never seen Hanzo's true strength, so they are very dissatisfied. Now Chen brought them to attack the country of rain. The most excited is the corner, both and Sasori. In front of Chen and the others, there were dozens of Omegakers. These Omegakers were holding kunai and other ninja tools in their hands, watching Chen and the others flinch, not daring to move forward. These Omegakers had all seen the strength of Chen and the others, but Chen didn't make a move at all. Sasori and Kaku, Duo had almost resolved all the battles, and even the two elders, Conan and others became spectators. As for Nagato, Nagato only has a lot of resentment towards Hanzo in his heart, so he hasn't vented it on these Omegakers, but his hatred has been staring at the place where Hanzo is, clenching his fists tightly, as if he can't control it at any time. Find out your leader Hanzo. At this time, Chen spoke softly. These Omegakers were all taken aback. Wearing a mask and Akatsuki's costume at this time, looking extremely mysterious. More importantly, these Omegakers all felt a very strange aura from Chen's body. Although Chen wears a mask and looks extremely mysterious, these Omegakers still subconsciously focus on Chen at the first sight, as if they can feel that Chen is the master of this time. These Omegaker were surprised to find that this man wearing a mask seemed to have a strange power. Even in the crowd, it made them focus on this man at first sight. Feeling unique, people couldn't help but focus your eyes on him. Mysterious, powerful, unfathomable. That's what these Omegakers feel like. Hearing Chen's words, these Omegakers subconsciously took a few steps back, then looked at Chen blankly and said, We. Forget it. I won't make it difficult for you. This guy Hanzo, after all, is a ninja known as a demigod, and now he is shrinking and dare not come out. Chen squinted his eyes and looked at the building in the land of rain. Strong perception after cultivating Yongdun, and can vaguely perceive Hanzo's chakra. Hanzo. Chakra moved in Chen's voice, so that the whole city could hear him. Chen's voice echoed in the sky above the city of the land of rain, causing countless ninjas to change color, feeling the huge chakra that belongs to Chen alone. Okay, what a strong chakra. A rain even fell directly and sat down. I didn't dare to face Chen at all. Chen's chakra is very scary. It should be said that the chakra of the Uchiha family has an evil and ominous taste. This is the Kyuubi, 9 tails, have said. Now that Chen's chakra is released, the violent chakra is shocking, and these Omegakers all feel as if a coercion is coming, and they all have no courage to even mention the battle. In front of him is so terrifying. This atmosphere, this breath, is really terrifying and unforgettable. Hanzo, come out and lead to death. Chen's voice once again spread throughout the entire city of the Land of Rain. A simple sentence. Hanzo, come out and lead to death. These words spread all over the sky of Omegaker village, filled with chakra, like a thunderbolt, with pride and contempt in his tone, completely disregarding Hanzo in his eyes, unscrupulous and wanton. All Omegaker's expressions changed drastically, and they didn't dare to look at Chen at all. And Hanzo in the building also changed his expression. Hanzo is also a strong, maybe not as good as Chen, but at least he is also a high-level cage-level strong. As a strong man, Hanzo could sense Chen's power in a hidden way, and at the same time, Chen didn't deliberately hide his voice, so that Hanzo could hear Chen's voice. Hanzo finally walked out of the building slowly, and by Hanzo's side, there were only a dozen or so confidants left, all waiting by Hanzo's side, looking a little panicked. Hanzo glanced at the mask Chen was wearing with a complicated expression, and sighed softly. I didn't expect that the real leader behind Akatsuki was you, the famous star legend. Legend of the Stars. Hearing this name, the surrounding Omegaker took a few steps back in astonishment, looking at Chen. Legend of the Stars, just like the name, is the legend of the ninja world. Especially after Chen broke 10,000 Iwagakure with Susanoo, Kirin and fought a battle with Uchiha Madara, Chen's deeds were spread even more divinely, and in the ninja world, he became famous, and almost no one knew about it. People do not Akatsuki. And the man wearing a mask in front of him turned out to be Shinshin legend Chen. With a chuckle, the corners of his mouth twitched, and he took off the mask on his face. He had no intention of concealing his identity, because he did not think that Hanzo and others who were present would leak the secret. Dead people do not reveal secrets. Off the mask, the surrounding Omegakers were stunned for a second. They probably didn't expect Chen to be so young. She looked like she was in her 20s, and her appearance was so handsome. Such a person is really famous in the ninja world. Legend of the Stars, Hanzo, long time no see. I see that your strength has improved a bit. I don't know if you are qualified to be my opponent. Let me arouse interest. Come and lead the death. Chen said lightly. Chen's tone was flat, but his words were not astonishing, and his words were so convincing that everyone looked at Chen in a daze. ________.